Hello everyone, welcome to Humane Entertainment. I'm Humane and I intend to entertain you. So, how's everyone doing today? Congratulations Starlight for being first. So, welcome to the first entry of Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 2. Starting today on Monday, June 15th, we'll go over the basics of playing Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Why June 15th? Because it turns out that today is Ryu Hayabusa's birthday. So, with that in mind, happy birthday, Ryu Hayabusa. I hope your beloved curio shop is doing well. Also, a little birthday message signed by a bunch of families here. Let's see. This is signed by the Hinasaki family, the Amakura family, the Kurosawa family, the Aso family, the Minazuki family, the Tsukimori family, and Kozukata family, and the Hojo family. Alright? It reads, "For the love of God, stop opening the gate to the underworld." Anyway, Ninja Gaiden has this intimidating reputation that it's a very difficult franchise. The thing is though, it's mostly the case of a lack of knowledge from the player, not a pure issue of a player's level of skill. They're right though. Yeah, well, let's hope nothing will happen in this game. Anyway, with Ninja Gaiden for Beginners, every Monday I intend to play through the Modern Ninja Gaiden Trilogy on the easiest difficulty, Hero Mode, and show step by step what you need to learn in order to properly understand how to play Ninja Gaiden. So in today's case, it's Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. So, I'm sure there are many people out there who can play these games on Master Ninja difficulty for fun. Great, awesome. These videos are not for you. The intention is not to show skill. It's to help break down the intimidating reputation of the franchise and hopefully get more people to actually try the games out. Because believe me, when you connect with these games, you will see that it's actually not as difficult as people make it out to be. So, what's the goal here? My goal is to inspire new players to choose to improve themselves at this game. I will give you tactics on how to beat certain encounters and all that, but I intend to do more than that. I want to teach people the proper mindset to eventually move on from Hero Mode and try out Normal Mode after all they have learned. And maybe, if they're ambitious, they will continue with Hard Mode or even further beyond, but that's not a necessity, just a general goal. I don't see beating Hero Mode as the goal in and of itself, because I have already reached the point where I already beat Master Ninja Mode. So yeah, Hero Mode is not really that impressive to me. Instead, I see Hero Mode as a possible starting point for people who aren't as experienced in action games like Ninja Gaiden. And by using that starting point, showing how it's not as intimidating as you would initially think. So I hope to break down that aura of dread that people have in starting these games. This is also why I am playing Ninja Gaiden 2 Black today. For those who don't know, there are 3 versions of the modern Ninja Gaiden 2. There's Ninja Gaiden 2 for the Xbox 360, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 on the PlayStation 3 and the Master Collection, and then there's Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which is what I'm playing today. I'm not picking Ninja Gaiden 2 Black because it's my favorite version of Ninja Gaiden 2. I'm picking it because it's the most accessible version out there. And again, my goal is to get people into these games. With all that being said, let's jump over to the game itself. Yeah, okay. So, another thing to point out is that these Ninja Gaiden for Beginners are not like the Sunday streams. In my Sunday streams, I intend to beat the game in as few settings as comfortably possible. Thus, I try not to go over 3 parts if I can help it. Is that also the one you recommend if you have the option? If I were to recommend a version of Ninja Gaiden 2 to new players, yeah, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black would be the one I would recommend. Mostly because I think if I were to be as objective as I can, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is probably the best version for people to play. There are still a lot of things which I still prefer in the Xbox 360 Ninja Gaiden 2, but there's a lot of things about it that might make it difficult for new players. So yeah, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is probably the most accessible version out there, especially when you compare it to Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, which also has a lot of the polish, but also has a lot of weird decisions in addition to that. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is almost like an in-between of Ninja Gaiden 2 and Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. So yeah. Oh, hello, Lamprey Alpaca. So, yeah. But yeah. Oh yes. Congratulations on being second. But yeah. Yeah. So this is not like my Sunday streams. In my Sunday streams, I intend to beat the game in as few sittings as comfortably possible. Thus, I try not to go over 3 parts if I can help it. With Ninja Gaiden for Beginners, I only go over a few chapters at a time. So in today's case, I will only go over chapters 1 and 2. And unlike the Sunday streams, I try, keyword being try, to keep the trivia and lore to a minimum. I know myself though, I don't there's still going to be lore in there anyway, but this is a guide first and foremost. This is also why I'm choosing to be VTuber me right now, just to better illustrate the difference from the Sunday streams. So one day when I do a Sunday stream of the Modern Ninja Gaiden games, I will talk more deeply about the story, just not this time. Or at least, again, I will try. So I will still show the cutscenes, but just so there's context on what's going on. This is also different from Ninja Gaiden Wednesdays, where I'll play through the games almost in its entirety, but without OBS overlays or commentaries. So as a result, this stream is going to be short, relatively speaking, to my Sunday streams. I'd be kind of surprised if we have even reached the 2-hour mark today, really. But granted, it's not as short as the random access streams or the TGI Tenchu streams, but still a lot shorter than my Sunday streams either way. I mean, especially when you compare it to what I did yesterday, in which I played Max Payne 2 in its entirety, and that went over 7 hours. So yeah, just to give a comparison for new viewers here. So, with that in mind, because this is a guide first and foremost, please ask questions about the gameplay mechanics if something is not clear. I want to answer anything that I didn't make clear enough, because there's a lot of things that are set, that are just naturally ingrained into me after decades of playing these games. Thus, I may have blind spots on stuff that isn't as intuitive to new players, so I hope everyone understands that. This is also why, from a recommendation from Starlight herself, I have this controller input thing here, so you can actually see what I am pressing. And if something doesn't seem to be clear, well, there you go. You can I can explain with the controller inputs. So yeah, yeah. So with that in mind, I think we can just properly start then. Here are the controls, but we're gonna go through a tutorial and all that. So yeah. Alright, so, in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1, or Ninja Gaiden Sigma, we played on Hero difficulty, and then afterwards we also died 3 times to get Ninja Dog mode. There is no Ninja Dog mode in Ninja Gaiden 2. Ninja Gaiden 2, it's just Hero playstyle, and we're just gonna pick Hero playstyle again, because it's the most accessible mode to start with. Chapter 1, Sky City, Tokyo. Special Agent Sonia appears at the door of the tiny shop run by Master Swordsmith Muramasa amidst the skyscrapers of Tokyo. She inquires after the ninja, Ryo Hayabusa, his whereabouts a mystery. She brings news of a terrible danger facing the world, bearing a message that must reach Hayabusa at any cost. As night falls, the evil Black Spire Ninja clan emerges from the shadows to infest the streets of this unsuspecting city. Also, I will talk about, or I will guide, the things I will teach in this entry. I'm going to kind of assume that you haven't actually seen the previous Ninja Gaiden for Beginners, just in case if you go into this as your entry. So yeah, so I'm not going to, there is going to be follow-up from things that I have set up in the previous Ninja Gaiden for Beginners, but just in case, I will still go through everything from the beginning. So yeah, all right, let's start. Oh, in your opinion, is Ninja Gaiden 2 accessible enough to be able to play without playing Ninja Gaiden 1 first, skill and gameplay-wise, not story-wise? Actually, both skill and gameplay-wise and story-wise, I would say yes. Actually, in fact, I think if you... yeah, honestly, if you don't want to make things too complicated, I would actually say start with Ninja Gaiden 2, in fact. Because Ninja Gaiden 1... is very old-fashioned in a lot of ways compared to Ninja Gaiden 2. So yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Let me get this straight.
Let me see.
You don't have a clue where I can find Ryu Hayabusa?
No one knows where a ninja goes. If he isn't at the Hayabusa village, he could be halfway around the world. Sonia, was it? Do you have business with Ryu?
I do.
And what might that be?
All I'll say is that it concerns the Archfiend.
Oh, the Archfiend.
I find it interesting how that Black Spire Ninja decided to enter by going backwards. I don't know how that was. He's probably at a hell gate, undoing the century-long efforts of an entire village. Probably. Boy, they make the shurikens look very powerful and all that rather than the distraction item, but okay. Anyway, we have Josh Keaton as Ryu Hayabusa in this game.
We have the woman.
Joshi, indeed.
More Ryu Hayabusa.
Okay, before I start, I do want to adjust some things here because, let's see, screen settings, ray tracing, yeah, this can probably go standard, really. Vignetting. I think this should be a little bit better. All right. Okay, so the game is nice enough to just outright tell you, oh, look, left trigger for block, X for quick attack, and Y for strong attack. So, yeah, I don't even have to point it out. Well, I do have to point it out, but still. All right, so for those who haven't watched the previous Ninja Gaiden for beginners, yeah, X is the quick attacks. You back in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1, I did say that X attacks usually would be attacks that you would that would have multiple hits after one another, whereas the Y attacks usually would be single hitters by comparison. So, does that still hold up? No, actually. What they have done now is that the Y attack is more so less hits, but still stronger. So, for example, the standard combo for X is now, instead of a 3-hitter, it's a 5-hitter now. Whereas the Y attack, in the previous game, it was a single hitter, which is kind of like this. Yeah, kind of like this attack. No, sheesh. Yeah. But now you can actually have that as a 3-hitter now. Oh. Or at least, if they allow me, come on. Well, I say 3-hitter. It actually starts off as a 2-hitter. It's mostly a 3-hitter if you have upgraded this. Okay, so why am I mentioning that? Well, because if you are playing Ninja Gaiden for the first time and you look at the technique list, the combo list, yeah, this can be a little bit overwhelming. It kind of makes it look like just a bunch of strings of button presses here. So even though that the idea of X combos usually are multi-hitters, whereas Y combos are usually single hitters, that's no longer the case, but the logic still kind of stands. Usually, you do not follow up an X combo usually you do not follow a Y combo with an X combo, whereas you do follow up a lot of X combos with Y combos. What do I mean with that? Well, so this is X 5 times. If you press Y after 2 X's, there you go. That's a different attack. There. If you press Y after X, there you go. That's another combo. And eventually, the more you upgrade, it generally follows that kind of logic, where pressing Y after the third X attack, that would be another combo. For example, you do not get usually you do not get an X attack after a Y attack. Look, I'm pressing Y. I'm pressing Y and I mash the X attack. Nothing comes out of it except after the combo itself. So yeah. Same with the pressing Y twice and then X, and yeah, still nothing. The only time when that is the case is when you do an uppercut attack, which sends you in the air. In which case, you can do the famous Izuna drop. So, why does that... Oh, okay, let's have the cutscene play first.
Oh, why, if it isn't Ryu.
They were minions of the Black Spider clan.
Indeed they were. We haven't heard from them in a while.
Who was the woman?
You don't know her? Neither do I. You couldn't save her? She was looking for you. She said it was about the Archfiend.
The Archfiend.
Alright, so, there's even some things about the camera control there. Yeah, so you can use the right stick to move the camera, and by pressing the right trigger, you can center it behind Ryu's back, like this. So yeah, let's say you are looking at this guy over here. Reset, there you go. It allows you to have control over the view with a quick trigger thing. But yeah, like I said, you have X attacks that usually do not follow up after a Y attack, and yet here's the Izuna drop, which is X, Y, X, 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 Y. So how does that work then? Doesn't that go kind of against the rules? Well, that's because there are different statuses as well. So, for example, most of these combos that I've been doing, that is the standing combos. That's the combos that happens when you are standing. But there is also the running status. So if you are running and pressing X, that's a different attack than if you simply press X while standing. There's also X attacks when you are in the air. Yeah, so this is the X attack. Oh, sheesh. I will talk more about the dismembered enemies there. So this is the X attack, and this is the Y attack. Again, because you are in the air. When you are when you are jumping and you do an uppercut attack and you land on the ground, that's also an additional status. And I'll talk more about that in particular. But yeah, the reason why the Izuna drop works is because technically it's not a single combo. When you really think about it, the combo ended with XY. It's just that once you end the XY, you end up in the air. That means that you are in position to do a new combo, which is XXXY. And that ends up as the Izuna drop. So yeah, it's essentially two combos glued together that they just, for simplicity's sake, they keep putting that together as if it's one combo. But technically, in function, it's actually two combos that are glued together because of the status change between a standing combo and an aerial combo. So yeah, I'll just continue for now. Also, okay, first of all, Herb of Spiritual Life restores a small amount of health. This item can heal the lasting damage that is marked in red on the health gauge. To use this item, press down to open the item shortcut menu. Yeah, so if you press down, there you go. There's the Herb Spiritual Life and all that. Then there are here is also where you will change weapons, or if you use the pause menu. But yeah, if you want to have a quick menu, that's where pressing down or pressing up or pressing left or pressing right is. Okay, let's just continue and just have the game explain itself, I guess. Alright, more enemies to try things out on. Okay, so, Ninja Gaiden has something called the Ultimate Technique. I was holding Y in order to charge up the attack. Once I was able to charge it up to the well, okay. From a lore perspective, this is level 1. This is level 2. And this is level 3. There. You can look at the change in aura for that. And then once you let go, that first attack, if it hits, will lead to an auto combo. So, the thing is that every time when you are holding Y, there's a little animation of Ryu putting the sword behind him. And considering that even the smallest of seconds can make a difference in this game, the game has a relatively advanced technique, which is the on-landing ultimate technique. That is that if you are having an on-landing status and you press Y, instead of Ryu slowly, well, I say slowly, it's still relatively fast for other games standards, but yeah, Ryu still has that little animation where he puts the sword behind him, but if you do it while on landing, it almost becomes instant. There. Alright. Okay, with that in mind, you still have to charge it to the 3rd level, right? So, why would that matter that much? Well, notice that all those times when the enemies die, they leave behind yellow orbs. Well, okay, first of all, the statue of the Earth Dragon. Statue of Earth Dragon has a deep connection to the beast itself. This statue can be used... Okay, the statue can be used to save and also heal. The first time you you come across this, it will heal you. It will not recover your ki, but I will get to that when we actually have Ninpo. But yeah, it will heal you fully. Now that yeah, even if the mysterious blue light has faded, the statue can still be used to record the details of your journey if it is emitting a mysterious white light. Yeah, so this white light simply means that you have already used the healing thing, but now you can use it to save. Okay. But yeah, like I said, when the enemies die, they leave behind essence. Okay. Well, a yellow essence counts as a single charge. That means that if you charge, it immediately went to level 2 charge. Now, with that in mind, if there are two yellow essences, yeah, if there are two, oh man, okay, well, I might as well just abuse this. All right, I know for a fact that there are essences inside this chest right now. If you absorb 2 yellow essences, that immediately becomes a level 3 charge. Or if it's a blue essence or a red essence, which normally a blue essence would be healing and a red essence would restore ki. If you absorb that, well, you won't get healed and you won't get ki, but it immediately charges to level 3. So, just as an example, there you go. There. I just absorbed one of the blue essences, and that gave me a full charge. But that doesn't mean that charging manually is not useful in and of itself, because it turns out that Ryu has gained a little bit more of a resistance to being attacked while charging. Back in the previous Ninja Gaiden game, if you were charging and even a little shuriken hits you, that stops your charge. Now, Ryu is able to actually withstand a few attacks before he actually gets interrupted with his charging. So, look at this. There. I got hit by a shuriken, and I also got hit by a few attacks, but I still was able to charge to level 2. So yeah, it actually is a little bit easier to just charge manually in this game compared to the previous Ninja Gaiden game. Ooh, nice. Yeah. Okay, so I know what I'm supposed to do, but let's just act like, oh no, I fell down here. Well, the game has a little tutorial for you here. The technique of shadowless footsteps. Wall run. They give it such a dramatic name, but it's a wall run. Anyway, press A diagonally towards a wall. Jump with A towards a wall, then hold left stick forward to run along it. Places that seem out of reach no longer are. Yeah. Okay, you can do the flying bird flip, but let's just act like we haven't learned flying bird flip yet. So yeah, diagonally. That's the difference. Diagonally compared to if you run straight into the wall. If you run straight into the wall, that's a vertical wall run instead. So if you want to actually do the wall run that's horizontal, you're gonna have to kind of jump diagonally towards the wall, like this. All right. Here is something new about this game in particular, which is the obliteration technique. Press Y near a wounded enemy. This is one of the differences of a strong attack compared to an X attack. An X attack will not do an obliteration technique. So, press Y near an enemy that has lost an arm or leg to finish them off. Injured enemies can be extremely dangerous. Dispose of them quickly. Yeah, we have seen it happen, in fact. While I was explaining things, one ninja that lost a leg decided to do a suicide attack. Yeah, the moment they have lost a limb, they have decided, okay, you know what? I am gonna die anyway, so I'll just kamikaze myself. So, with that in mind, yeah, the moment you have cut off a limb, which players have called it deliving, I guess. But yeah, once you have removed the limb, that is when they get very desperate, and thus you would it's actually very much recommended to perform the obliteration technique before they do a suicide attack on you. So yeah, fortunately the game is nice enough to give us a few injured enemies here just to test it out. So yeah, press Y against an injured enemy. Yeah. A successful obliteration technique is always an instant kill. It's essentially the fatality of Mortal Kombat, like that. Okay. So here's the thing about what the obliteration technique changes in terms of the combat system, though, because back in Ninja Gaiden 1, there's a difference between attacks that are, well, blade attacks and attacks that are kicks or throws. For example, in Ninja Gaiden 1, you would have an armlet or a band that would specifically power up kicks and throws, but not the other attacks. But you also have a band or armlet that raises all attacks, but a less amount compared to the band that would raise kicks and throws. Now there is no difference between kicks and throws. In fact, some moves that Ryu used to have that end up with a kick or throw has now ended up becoming another sword attack. For example, the forward attack, so pressing X and then forward and then X, this used to be a kick attack. Now it's a sword attack instead. Okay, so that seems like a simplification, but here's the thing. Now, every attack has a different rate of dismemberment. So, do you feel like the difference might be confusing? Compared to the original Ninja Gaiden with the kicks and slashes, or okay, actually this game I think is a little bit more intuitive to people, because now you don't have to think about the difference between kicks and slashes. You can just assume every attack essentially works the same. The difference now is that every attack now has a different rate of taking a limb off an enemy. For example, this combo, that's the basic combo. And that combo, it has different damages compared to which slash you're doing. Like, for example, the last slash obviously would do more damage than the first slash. But besides how strong the attack is, just because an attack is stronger doesn't necessarily mean that it can cut as well. For in this combo, in fact, the slash where Ryu does the horizontal slash lower to the ground, well, obviously that would actually have more of a chance to take off a leg in particular. Whereas if you do the XXY combo, this combo, that actually has a very high chance of cutting off an arm, in fact. A lot more than if you simply did the regular 3X combo. Yeah, so now, back in Ninja Gaiden 1, there is barely a difference between this and this. But now, notice how Ryu does a little grunt as he does the XXY combo. That's kind of to signify, yeah, that slash is actually more, a bit more powerful, or at least more useful, than just this one. Okay, yeah. Like this one, that's just the standard 3-hit combo. But pressing XXY now, that one, that has a lot more chance to get rid of get rid of an arm, which, if you combo that with the fact that every shuriken that you use, that can also cancel your combo. So, there. So why would you want to cancel the combo? Well, because you have to be in a neutral position in order to use the obliteration technique. So, with that in mind, XXYBY, since this combo most of the time will get rid of an arm, that means you can immediately follow it up with an obliteration technique. So yeah, I will demonstrate that soon, but let's see what the game wants to teach us here. Well, the lives of 1,000 gods permanently increase your maximum health, and every time you find this, you can also press X to find details and just have some lore, because, well, I love me some lore. A strand of 9 Life of the Gods jewels. Just one of these is enough to immediately increase the limits of one's physical endurance. Its exaggerated name comes from its immense immediate effectiveness. Oh, question for chat. Is this kind of game you would play? Is this kind of game you would play? So, because Life of the Gods jewels are difficult to come by, receiving 9 at once seems to increase its value 1,000-fold. It is suggested that this item originated with someone who realized the power of the Life of the Gods jewels and decided to string them together. Many of these were made in Japan during the 15th century, but since then, they have traveled to other countries through trade. Most were exported as decorative items, and records show they were often traded for a large number of silver pieces. Fun fact, the fact that it's mentioning the 15th century, 15th century, that's the time period of Neo, of all things. So yeah, fun little connection there. But yeah. Here's one little difference between this version of Ninja Gaiden 2 and the original Xbox 360 version of Ninja Gaiden 2. In the original Xbox 360 version of Ninja Gaiden 2, you would be able to keep the Lives of the 1,000 Gods in your inventory. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, because in the Xbox 360 Ninja Gaiden 2, using the Lives of the Gods also completely fills up your health again, besides making your maximum health longer. Thus, suddenly this becomes something of an extra healing item, in fact. So yeah, that was an additional little tactic you could do. In this game, as well as Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, there's no longer an option. The moment you grab it and you press proceed, it will be used automatically. So yeah, There's no longer a real tactic to it, to having this in your inventory. You just use it just the moment you got it. Oh well. Alright, yeah. If for any reason you feel lost, this game has a handy little "where do I go" button, which is the reset camera button, and you hold it. There you go. And so apparently we're gonna have to go down there. In addition, there were collectibles here. Unfortunately, I kind of forgot that the collectibles don't show up if you have already collected them. But yeah, there are crystal skulls here now. In fact, in my inventory, on the lower left, you notice that besides the essence, which is 3,560, yeah, there's also the crystal skulls. And I have 30 of them, which is all the crystal skulls. Yeah, so back when they actually cared about things like this, yeah, in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, they said, Muramasa said, oh, 50 golden scarabs. That's all the golden scarabs that exist in the world. So, okay, so obviously that means that there should be no more golden scarabs to collect. So instead, they give us new things to collect, like the Crystal Skull. Eventually, Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge decided to add the scarabs back, which, yeah, just brings us with the conclusion that either Muramasa lied that there are 50 scarabs, or he has redistributed it everywhere just to have the ninjas collect them. So yeah, it's just Muramasa spreading them again. Yeah, indeed. But yeah, there are 30 crystal skulls to collect, and I will point out the positions of all these crystal skulls, but you won't see them because I have already collected them. But yeah, like I said, if you are lost, you can just hold the reset camera button, and Ryu will point out to where he's supposed to be going. So, all right, down we go. Okay. Okay, yeah, so it is actually a lot more useful to use the things like the Izuna drop, but I know that isn't as intuitive to a lot of new players, so I will try to minimize the use of Izuna drops, just to highlight that even the basic combos usually are enough to get through hero mode. So, yeah, like I said, the XXY combo has a very high chance of taking off an arm. Let's demonstrate that. If they allow me. There we go. Well, okay, the second slash already cut off the leg there, but okay, right now they are actually getting their legs cut off a bit too easily for my demonstration. Okay, let's try again. Alright, so the third slash, the XXY combo. There we go. That already cut off a limb. That time they kind of blocked it, but there you go. There. The moment it hits, it's that same arm that they lose. So if you just do that and then press B in order to cancel it with a shuriken, afterwards press Y, and there you go, you do an obliteration technique. Or you kill them before you were even able to do an obliteration technique. Yeah, the health is actually not that high of the for the enemies that you start off with. Alright, so more herbs, in case you need a heal after all that. Let's see if this next... Okay. So, here's the next little tutorial. Yeah, compared to Ninja Gaiden 1, Ninja Gaiden 2 has a lot more of an accessible tutorial, honestly. So, that's one of the reasons why I think if you don't want to complicate stuff, just immediately go to Ninja Gaiden 2, honestly. You miss out on Ryu's origin story, but really, you do not need to know it specifically. So, alright. So, the next tutorial here. The Art of the Inferno. The Inferno's blaze reduce your enemies to ashes. While using this Ninpo, use the left stick to choose its direction of fire. The flames underneath the health gauge represent your ki. Use ki to cast Ninpo. Collect red essence to replenish your ki, like I said. So yeah, just like Ninja Gaiden 1, you have ki slots. So every slot is a single use of the Ninpo, and in this case, the Art of the Inferno is... Well, okay, every Ninpo is Y and B at the same time. So, yeah. So yeah, we start off with 3 Ninpo slots, which is a lot more than how you start in Ninja Gaiden 1. In Ninja Gaiden 1 you start with 1 key slot, but here we go. We have 3 key slots to try out this Ninpo. So let's try it out. Okay, so this is what happens if you just neutrally press Y and B. If you press Y and B and then use the left stick, yeah, you can kind of aim it. It's still very much auto locks, but at least this way you can choose who you actually hit with the Ninpo. Okay. And generally speaking, every time when you do get a new Ninpo, try it out, honestly, because the game is always nice enough to give you a chest with red essences afterwards. So yeah, don't be afraid to just try it out. Usually the moment you get a new Ninpo, they have a chest like this close by in order for you to just try it out, I guess. Alright, so I did say that there was still a use to simply charging manually, not only because Ryu has more resistance while he was charging compared to Ninja Gaiden 1, also if you just read the environment a little bit, or you just happen to know it in advance that some enemies are going to appear here. Yeah, usually they don't teleport in, they instead just kinda run in. So that gives you time to charge. For example, I happen to know that some enemies are going to run in the moment I pass through this door. So the moment I pass through the door, I'm just going to immediately start charging. There. The moment he gets here, there you go. I'm already doing this ultimate technique. And if there are survivors, usually they would have lost a limb at this point, so that means, hey, you can use an obliteration technique against them. And same case here. Of course, you wouldn't notice on a first playthrough, but if you do happen to know that an enemy is going to appear after a certain moment, there, just charge in advance, and there you go. I was good for charging every few meters. You could. Alright. Okay. Also, and I already explained this in Ninja Gaiden 1, but there is a difference between jumping normally, which in this case you just notice that there are, yeah, Ryu's just simply jumping, but if you press X and A at the same time, there, I'm doing it multiple times, but yeah, Ryu has after images while he jumps. Okay, so is that just an aesthetic thing? Actually, there's a functional thing to it, because if you are jumping, yeah, you're jumping in the direction of where your control stick is aiming. Whereas if you press X and A, that's something called the wind run, you will automatically jump towards the closest enemy. There. I'm not even pressing in the direction of the enemy, but I'm just gonna immediately jump towards the nearest enemy. So why would I want to do that? Well, there is a move called the Flying Swallow. Flying Swallow while jumping forward. Yeah, Flying Swallow. It's okay. The text is very small here. We are going to get a proper tutorial for the Flying Swallow anyway. But yeah, the Flying Swallow, for example, is while jumping forward, and Y. So where is forward? Well, that depends on how the camera is looking, right? Well, if you use the wind run, you no longer have to think about what direction to hold the control stick. You can instead just press Y while doing the wind run. There, and you will simply use the Flying Swallow. And the Flying Swallow usually is the attack you want to use it in order to close the gap between you and the opponent. So, pretty useful thing to learn. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Okay. So here's another little tutorial. Besides tutorial, of course. Here's the statue again. If it has the blue glow, it will say heal and save. Afterwards, it will only say save. But yeah, okay. Next tutorial here. Oh, the flying bird technique. Yeah, run up a wall, then press A repeatedly. Jump against the wall and press A repeatedly to scale 2 opposing walls. This allows you to reach higher ground without resorting to a ladder. And funny how they point that out with a broken ladder here, just to necessitate you actually doing that. that said, here's something that's a little bit different from Ninja Gaiden 1, in fact. In Ninja Gaiden 1, if you do the flying bird flip and then you do a Y attack, there, that would be a wall attack. That is back in Ninja Gaiden 1, that is one of the most overpowered attacks there is, because you are generally invincible the entire time and it does a lot of damage. Okay, so the invincible thing, that's still the case. So if you are kind of crowded, you can always count on this attack just to attack multiple enemies at the same time. But it's a lot weaker now. It is very much nerfed. So you do get the invincibility, but don't count on it killing a lot of enemies at the same time like it did in Ninja Gaiden 1. However, now there is a difference between pressing Y while jumping from a wall and pressing X when jumping from a wall. There. That's a little bit different. So, what's the difference with this then? Well, this attack is essentially a stronger version of the Flying Swallow. So the Flying Swallow is usually just you dash past an enemy, and there you go, that's it. However, this attack, I will do a Flying Bird Flip and then enter the next fight while doing a Flying Bird Flip, and then I will use the X attack. Look what happens. There. Ryu will actually do an additional combo in the air if that X attack hits. So I'm gonna try it again. There. And that also has a lot of chances to cut off a limb if you hit. So yeah. There. So it's... You don't have as much invincibility frames as the Y attack. But yeah, notice how the Y attack no longer has that much damage. But still, it has a lot of invincibility frames. If you actually want the damage dealer, you actually want to do the X attack when jumping from a wall now. Because look, the high rate of decapitating enemies that attack has. So yeah, something in mind now. Okay, so here's the benefit of having this little look where I'm supposed to go trigger thing. Yeah, so that way you can always tell, oh, if you want to look around a bit and not progress further in the story, just go in the opposite direction. There you go. So if you want to find collectibles, just go in the opposite direction. Right, I said I wasn't going to do the zoom drop too much. Okay, so the 3-hit Y combo, like I kept using the X combos, but the Y combo right now it's only a 2-hitter right now. Still, that 2-hitter yet again has a lot of chances of cutting off a limb if they allow me to. You'll notice that the enemies are a lot more aggressive in this game, but yeah. Oh, well, that's the suicide attack, so yeah, at least that demonstrates that. But yeah, I simply cut off a limb. There we go. Yeah. And if you have cut off a limb, you can press Y again in order to use the obliteration technique. And the thing is, with the obliteration technique, you can also kind of interrupt their suicide attack, which I just did there. So yeah. Anyway, little reward for going off the beaten path. Hey, Life of the Gods. Yeah, we found a Life 1000 Gods, which is 9 Life of the Gods, but this is just a single one. So collect and use 9 of these to permanently increase your maximum health. And if you want some lore, press X for details. Gathering 9 of these blue jewels is said to increase the limit of one's physical endurance. These jewels are counted in the order of the 9 symbols of the Kuji In, or 9-syllable seals, which is a mantra that has been used for ages to protect against and ward off evil. The order is as follows: Rin, Pyo, To, Sha, Kai, Shin, Ret, Sai, Sen. The jewels are shaped like billiard balls, highly polished and perfectly spherical, and can be found hidden throughout the world. Numerous theories struggle to explain their origins. Some suspect they are dragon drops formed from crystallized dragon secretions that fell to Earth. Yeah, funnily enough, there is actually a lot of these dragon drops, apparently. Others claim that they are the polished remains of a dragon's bazaar. Neither theory is backed up by concrete evidence. The crystalline structure of the jewels suggests the dragon drop theory, but many researchers doubt this hypothesis due to the estimated age of the jewels derived from the half-life of the Neptunian 236 found in large amounts within them. Alright, well, Either way, yeah. We have 1 of the 9, and on the upper right there, you saw it counting up. But you can always press start, and there, on the upper right, you can see how far you are with your progress of Flight of the Gods. Yet again, back in Ninja Gaiden 2, and also in the original Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden Black and Ninja Gaiden Sigma, you would actually have to go to the items and actually activate it yourself. But now it just does it automatically. Okay, so the game tells you to go, well, that way. You're actually supposed to go up there, in fact. But again, let's go off the beaten road and start collecting stuff. Alright, Devil's Way Mushroom restores a small amount of ki. So to use this item, press down to open the item shortcut menu. Yeah, so we had the Herb of Spiritual Life. We also have the Devil's Way Mushroom. So yeah, the Herb of Spiritual Life, that is how you heal. The Devil's Way Mushroom is how you gain more ki. So just as a little demonstration here I'm gonna use 1 Ninpo, just wasting it really. But now I am going to use Devil's Way Mushroom. I have 2 slots. Now I have 3 slots. It's always a single slot that it regenerates. Alright, so 2 ninjas are gonna arrive here. Okay. Okay, when you are in the air, and you press the shuriken button, or the B button, I'm not actually pressing B multiple times. If you are in the air and you press B, Ryu will automatically throw, how many is it? Let's see, let's count the hits. 4. He's always going to throw 4 shuriken. So, thing is, shurikens are not damage dealers. Shurikens are there to help you reposition yourself. And that's especially useful if you want to charge an ultimate technique. So, nope. Okay, let's just do this down here then. Yeah, there. By doing that, I actually have enough distance between me and the enemy that I will be able to fully charge the ultimate technique. In fact, that's also a thing that I forgot to mention. If you compare this to Ninja Gaiden 1, Ryu charges a lot faster. Like, there was an armlet that you would equip in order to charge your ultimate technique faster in Ninja Gaiden 1. Ryu even charges faster than that in Ninja Gaiden 2. So yeah, the ultimate technique, Ryu has become a lot more efficient with it in this game compared to Ninja Gaiden 1. In Ninja Gaiden 1, it's almost a necessity to actually have some essences to absorb in order to charge quickly. Honestly, in Ninja Gaiden 2, it's just as much a valid tactic to just charge manually now, instead of charging with the essence. Okay, so there are 2 enemies here, and there is an enemy up there that is firing arrows. Or at least if he would, just to... There we go. Yeah, he's firing arrows. Normally, I think a lot of people, they tend to focus on the enemies on the ground first before they go for the one with the arrow. Actually, the one with arrow usually is very annoying to deal with while you are attacking the enemies on the ground. So my recommendation is actually that every time if there is an enemy with a projectile weapon, focus on that one first, because Ryu is actually fast enough to just go past the grounded enemies, so you can focus on the one that's doing the projectile attacks. Okay, but how do you get up there in the first place? Well, there is a convenient tree here, which you can wall flip off of, And there you go. The thing also with the projectile enemies is that usually they have a lot less health compared to the ones doing the melee attacks. So, just... yeah. So, yeah. Now you don't have to deal with that while facing off against these two. Okay, but back... oh, actually. Oh, hey, you're still alive. Well, not anymore. Okay, back in Ninja Gaiden 1, I kept saying that try getting used to doing the Izuna drop, doing things like XY in order to get in the air, or forward Y in order to get in the air, so you can do the Izuna drop. In fact, in this game, you actually start off with the Izuna drop. Notice how I didn't even upgrade the weapon, and you already have the Izuna drop. In Ninja Gaiden 1, you would actually have to upgrade the weapon at least once in order to do Izuna drop. But yeah, the reason for that is because usually the ground combos are a little bit more risky to do compared to the Izuna drop. The Izuna drop keeps you in the air with the enemy until you do the actual drop itself, and most of the time the enemies will not be able to hit you while you are in the air. The reason they came up with the obliteration technique is so that combos on the ground suddenly have become more viable. Now, even the basic combo at least has a good chance of cutting off a limb. So if an enemy's limb is cut off, there you go, you can use the obliteration technique now. So it's just their way of balancing out the game so that the Izuna drop is no longer the answer to everything. Now, even the simple combos can be useful because they have a chance of cutting off a limb now. Anyway, by going up here, this is where another Crystal Skull would be. Okay, so yet again, these enemies are, funnily enough, kind of showing you that you can swing off these bars for you, so that's nice of them. But not only that, now you notice that in the distance there are more bars. That and there two more arrive. Well, again, if you happen to know that they are arriving, you can't just charge the ultimate technique in advance there. Alright, but let's say you misjudged the jump a little bit. Are you gonna fall down a bottomless pit then? Actually, there is, an additional little path underneath here. And not only that, there's actually a collectible here. Yay, another Life of the Gods. So yeah, now we got 2 of the 9. Sure, there are a bunch of enemies here. So that's kind of a punishment, but really, a lot of times it's actually better to actually fail at some platforming sections just so you end up with the collectibles that are actually underneath. So yeah, learn from your failures, I guess. In fact, the game even gives you this chest with blue essences here, just to heal you up after the punishment of the fight, I guess. Okay, let's try not falling down now. Alright. Also, back in the original Ninja Gaiden, if you had to interact with a ladder, you would actually have an interact prompt. Now it's a more intuitive thing of just walking up to the ladder, and there you go, Ryu climbs it. And even while you're climbing, now you actually have control over whether you are going up or down. Is this useful in any way? Not really. It's just a little modernization of the game, I guess. Alright, another Devil's Wave mushroom. Alright, so I already explained the flying swallow, but here's the actual explanation. So, the left stick and Y while jumping forward. Again, you don't have to press hold forward if you are doing the wind run, the X and A jump. But yeah, jump forward and press Y to attack enemies from above. Any foe in your path will be decimated. Used in crowded areas. To use the technique, you must have the dragon sword equipped. Yeah, that's a very specific way of saying that. There are actually a lot of weapons that have the flying swallow technique, or at least their version of flying swallow technique, but not all of them. So I guess in this case, because you only have the dragon sword, they'll just say dragon sword just for simplicity's sake. All right, but yeah, like I said, there you go. That's the flying swallow. Flying swallow. Usually, if you use this against a boss, most of the time the boss will actually block it. But that's actually not that much of a problem, because if they do block it, well, at least you did close the distance between you and the boss, so you can just do your actual combos against them. Okay, but all this time, we've been fighting against these enemies, and boy, they seem very aggressive and all that. Is this game more difficult than Ninja Gaiden 1 then? Well, first of all, notice that there's actually two bars, a white bar and a black bar, and the red bar, the red background underneath, I guess. After a battle, you will heal up back to the to the black bar instead. Yes, you have regenerative health. Now, the red bar is simply, or the red background is the permanent damage, you could say. But even the permanent damage can get healed by blue essence. The white health is the actual health you have. If that goes to 0, that leads to your death. However, we are playing on hero, like temporary HP or something. Yeah, pretty much. So, here's the thing. We are playing on hero difficulty though. Back in Ninja Gaiden 1, if you, or Ninja Gaiden Sigma in particular, if you, on hero difficulty, if your health is at critical, you will get a circle in place of your health bar, which gives you unlimited ninpo, and Ryu will automatically dodge every attack, meaning you are essentially invincible during a fight. That's still essentially the case here, but instead of a circle, it's actually an additional bar that kind of goes over your health bar. But you no longer have infinite ninpo, so that's a little nerf on that, but still you are essentially invincible. So just to demonstrate that, still takes a while till there we go. There, that's the additional bar. As long as that bar is, I'm not even pressing anything. As long as the bar is underneath the health bar there, you are invincible. Like, there's no way the enemy can actually hit you. There, I'm not even pressing anything. So, if you want, you can even keep pressing the X button. Eventually, you'll probably kill all of them. Oh yeah, and an enemy happened to have dropped a blue essence, which heals me over the threshold of the hero mode. Okay, so yeah, that cancels the hero mode, but now, if the bar of the hero mode happened to be pretty low actually, well, now you can just have hero mode reactivated yet again. There you go. So yeah. Like, hero mode in Ninja Gaiden, in the Ninja Gaiden franchise, really makes the game a lot more forgiving. Still, a lot of the defenses that Ryu did while in hero mode, most of them you can still just kind of do it yourself without hero mode. Like, just hold block, actually. Most of the time, even if you are looking away from an enemy, Ryu will just block it. Like, I'm not in hero mode. I'm simply holding block against this one enemy. And sometimes the enemy might do an actual grab attack, but he does it very rarely compared to compared to the Black Spider Ninjas from Ninja Gaiden Sigma. At least this version of the Black Spider Ninja does. we're gonna meet different kinds of Black Spider Ninjas throughout this game. But yeah, all I've been doing here is just holding block. Just goes to show how powerful the block actually is. Also, during the hero mode, I also did some counterattacks. I will explain counterattacks a little bit more when the game allows it. But actually, no, you know what? This seems to be a good time to do it. Yeah, like I said, as long as you hold block, most of the time this enemy will not be able to actually get through your guard. Sure, he does that attack in order to break your guard. Still, all I'm doing is holding block, and the attack afterwards, usually if he does that attack, he will jump back anyway. So yeah, so you are relatively safe against enemies as long as you're holding block. Okay, but if you're gonna press X or Y while blocking, notice Ryu will do a little animation here. Like, it's kind of like he's pushing the sword forward a little bit. Back in Ninja Gaiden 1, I did say that press X or Y during the ting, the contact of the sword hitting your block. So, ting, ting, yeah. Come on. There we go. That's the counter attack, which he happens to dodge, but that's kind of impressive. But okay, but this game actually kind of adds a little bit to it, because now, if the enemy hits the sword while you are doing this animation, that will also trigger the counterattack. So you can actually kind of do it preemptively now. And not only that, even if the attack would break your guard, if it hits this animation in particular, you will still do a counterattack. So let's see if... Okay, well, that was more so because of the thing. Let's see if... Come on. Oh, no, okay. Come on. There we go. Yeah. So, yeah, he hit me during this animation, and that triggered the counterattack. So yeah, I already said it in the previous Ninja Gaiden for Beginners, but the counter system is actually very forgiving in this game compared to other games that have a counter system. Oh, that's a familiar weapon over there. Okay, but yeah, in other games that you have a counter system, usually if you mess up the counter, that would usually mean that you'll get damaged, because, well, you essentially sacrifice your block for it. In this game, if you fail the counterattack, well, that just means you just block. So, like I said, this game is actually very forgiving when it comes to the counter system compared to other games. So, yeah. Anyway, they did present this supposed new weapon here. Oh, wait, it's a lunar staff. No, it's from the previous Ninja Gaiden game. I don't know how it ended up here, but a staff said to harbor the mysterious power of the moon. Well, it is called the lunar, so kind of makes sense. Yeah, so to equip this weapon, press up to open the weapon shortcut menu. But if you want some more details, the lunar staff is an Asian-style quarterstaff that is said to harbor the mystic powers of the moon. When the moon enters the full or new phases, the density of the staff's shaft increases, and it becomes slightly heavier as a result. The shaft of the weapon is made from a strong piece of willow, treated with special oils and waxes to make it an exceptional tough material. Animal tendons are wrapped around the shaft. Boy, the word shaft is... a layer of bone glue holds them in place. Finally, an outer shell of steel encases the entire shaft. The points of both ends of the staff are made from an alloy of high relative weight that contains iridium derived from meteorites. Muramasa insists that the animal connective tissue used to bind the staff is the Achilles tendons of a Kirin. Or some people might know it better as the Kirin, in fact. So yeah, apparently the Achilles tendons of the Kirin is used for this staff, which is a mystical creature known throughout the cultures of East Asia. So yeah, since we do get the lunar staff here, let's try it out a little bit. So, similar to the... Okay, first of all, if you use Ninpo, you regenerate Ninpo here by grabbing that thing. But, alright, so similar to the Dragon Sword, the lunar staff also has multi-hitters with the X combo. And also, if you press XY, look at that, you end up in the air, which means you can do an Izuna drop afterwards. So yeah, the idea of and with Y attack, yeah. This is, well, I would say this is technically a 2-hitter attack, but even with one press, you are rotating multiple times. So yeah, even that one press is actually multiple hits actually. But yeah, it's 1 and 2, 1 and 2. There you go. So it's still a 2 press combo, I guess, but it just does more hits, I guess. All right. The ultimate technique. Well, we already explained the whole thing, but let's just go through it again. So, hold Y. Hold Y to charge, then release. If successful, your enemies will suffer. The longer you charge, the more powerful your attack. If there's essence nearby, you will absorb them and charge faster. Okay, so funny that they give you this explanation of the ultimate technique here when you just got the Lunar Staff, because, yeah, the Lunar Staff, that's going to be your go-to if you are using a lot of ultimate techniques, in fact, because just look at what they have turned the ultimate technique of the Lunar into. There, it actually burns enemies at the end, which means that a lot of times, if they didn't die by the huge amount of combos beforehand, they will usually die because of the flaming finish of this ultimate technique. Alright, well, we've had a lot of tutorials. How about a little bit of lore? Notebook obliteration technique. Why? I ask you, why? Why am I incapable of finishing off my enemies? The other apprentices lop off heads left and right, but what about me? When an enemy lies before me, blood spurting from mortal wounds, begging for the mercy of my blade, I stand there like a practice dummy. I can't bring myself to use the obliteration technique. Now I think about it, my life has been full of tragedy. I saw far too much in the blood-drenched days of my youth. I must have suffered some mental trauma, causing my mind to flee from violence deep into its subconscious shelter. No, wake up. Obliterate. You must obliterate. Open your eyes and obliterate, damn it, Zenemaru. You know, Zenemaru, maybe you shouldn't have tried to become a ninja in the first place if this is an issue of yours, you know? But yeah, this is going to be a funny little recurring thing, honestly. A lot of these ninjas will write in their diaries about their failures to do certain techniques and all that, which not only highlight the techniques, but also kind of, yeah, it's kind of part of the power fantasy of, oh wow, look at all these people having trouble with it, and while you, as the player, can do it so easily. Ooh, yeah, that's kind of the general gist of a lot of these diaries, or these notebooks, I guess. So yeah, Zenemaru has trouble with the obliteration technique. Well, we've been pulling it off in the meantime. Alright, technique of ultimate guidance. So hold Y, then release. So, this is essentially them emphasizing that when there is essence nearby, hold Y to absorb the essence and charge your ultimate technique. Your ultimate technique will charge faster, and any enemies hit with the attack will drop more essence than usual. Use dropped essence to chain together more ultimate techniques. Yeah, so this used to be something that is kind of like an advanced technique that people did. They just kind of realized, oh, just use an ultimate technique, they release more essence, I will use that essence to charge more ultimate techniques. It's I don't know if it was meant to be like that, but they essentially made that an official thing in this game. So yeah, this little additional little collectible thing here, which gives you grains of spiritual life, restores a moderate amount of health. Yeah, so the herb of spiritual life, that only heals a little bit. The grain of spiritual life heals a moderate amount of health. Okay, so this is like an in-between of what Ninja Gaiden 1 had with the spirit elixir and the great spirit elixir, where the great spirit elixir is a full heal, right? Well, actually, there is no full heal anymore in this game, or at least not in regular items. It's only a small heal or a moderate heal. There's going to be a special item, which, yeah, you will get from the story, but that's a one-time use only to get an actual full heal. Full heal is actually a lot more valuable. That is one of the reasons why a lot of players of the Xbox 360 Ninja Gaiden 2 chose to actually keep their Life 1000 Gods so that they could actually use that as a full heal instead. But yeah, now in this game, generally speaking, besides a very specific item, you only have a small amount of heal or a large amount of heal. Also, there's more lore with all these, but I think I already have a lot of lore with the Life 1000 Gods. Let's just wait for that for an actual Sunday stream. Alright, so yeah, ultimate guidance, just keep charging with the essence all over the place. So, charge, do the ultimate technique, which kills a few enemies, they drop more essence, charge again. Just make a full cycle out of it. And considering the Lunar ultimate technique has such a large chance of hitting enemies and killing them with the final hit, yeah, it's almost a certainty with some enemies that you can just chain together ultimate techniques this way. Okay. Yeah, yellow essence is used like money at the Muramasa shop. Oh, maybe we should actually visit a Muramasa shop or something. Okay, I did mention that in that with the Dragon Sword, the XXY combo usually has a big chance of taking off a limb. Well, funny thing is that that's usually the pattern for every weapon, in fact. So even the XXY combo of the Lunar, that's also a big chance of taking a limb off. Oh, come on. Oh. No, dang. Well, I'm talking about this attack in particular. It even kind of looks the same. It's also a big horizontal slash, like the Dragon Sword. Let's try it with these enemies. And honestly, if the third one didn't actually cut off a limb, oh no, that actually took off a head in fact. But yeah, if the third one didn't cut off a limb, then the other two probably would have instead. So yeah, just keep it in mind. X X Y. That's just a standard combo for a lot of weapons, in fact. Alright, but yeah, Muramasa shop. You can upgrade your weapon at the blacksmith. Yeah, so if you press right bumper, why Ryu, you found one of the crystal skulls. All of them, in fact, but I've been searching high and low for these. The more you bring me, the bigger of a discount I'll give you. Okay, so yeah, so he gives you a discount, a 50% discount, which, in terms of a tutorial, that does make things a little bit skewed in my favor, actually. I'll just act like every item is actually 2 times more expensive than it actually is. Let's just try to keep it at that during this guide. But yeah, you can buy those healing items and the Devil's Way Mushroom and also the Talisman of Rebirth, which brings you back to life once. But if you press the left bumper, you go to the blacksmith. So yeah, every weapon has, generally speaking, every weapon has 3 levels. You can see the level there with the triangle thing next to the level. So right now, the Dragon Sword is at level 1. The Lunar is at level 1. If you upgrade it to the next level, you gain more techniques and all that. Here's my recommendation. Prioritize the Dragon Sword above all else. Because the Dragon Sword, it's the main weapon for a reason. It's because it is the most balanced of all the weapons, and usually if you have trouble with an enemy because you happen to have a mismatch with a certain weapon or something, the Dragon Sword usually is always a viable option no matter what. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Always upgrade Dragon Sword first and foremost. The Lunar, however, I will say that the Lunar, the more you level up the Lunar, the more damage you do with the Lunar, even compared to the Dragon Sword. So if you really want the damage dealer at the start. That would be the Lunar Staff, in fact. But yeah, let's just go with the Dragon Sword per my recommendation. So yeah, now it's at level 2. Okay, so with the Dragon Sword at level 2, if you go to the technique, on the left, every combo that initially required level 2, yeah, you notice the level 2 icon on there, which, yeah, you can kind of imagine that the level 3 icon probably means that that's the combo you get from a level 3. But interestingly, there's another icon, a blue jewel. Interesting. I wonder what that means. Anyway, the Fang of the Wolf, that's a level 2 thing, and there's also Ikaruga. I think the most important thing about level 2 usually in this game is that your Y combo, which usually starts off as a 2-hitter, now it becomes a 3-hitter. And the thing is that the Y combo of a lot of these weapons, usually the third slash is very powerful. There, that 360 spin thing, that's kind of similar to the wall jump and X attack, but then now you can just do it on its own. And considering how powerful that attack was, yeah, just imagine that that now being able to do it just on the ground suddenly makes the Y combo very powerful, in fact. I mean, I wouldn't say that bats are the most impressive things to kill, but yeah, just showing how it has a lot of reach, in fact. Alright, notebook. Shadow's Footsteps, the wall run. My master tells me that the technique of Shadow's Footsteps is a basic ninja maneuver. He says it is the very spirit of the ninja to traverse where no path can be seen. In that case, I must be lacking in ninja spirit, because I am completely incapable of performing this simple technique. I told you there's a theme to this. I slide down the wall, or I slam my forehead against its surface. Either way, I look like an idiot. If it weren't for my metal headpiece, I'd have cracked my skull open by now. What honor can be had by a ninja as clumsy as I? When my comrades reach a valley, I slow them down. When up against a castle wall, they must carry me over. They say that in life, one must learn to rise above obstacles. I'd rather knock all these walls down. I never want to see another wall as long as I live. Hikage-o. Well, here's the funny thing here. He happens to die relatively close to a wall where we have to wall run. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? So, yeah. Womp womp indeed. So yeah, just as a little reminder, jump diagonally at a wall in order to wall run horizontally. Okay, so again, if you are uncertain about where to go, well, the game has the look at where I'm supposed to go button, essentially. But still, if you want collectibles, kind of go the opposite direction. Usually just ends up with a dead end that has a collectible. Okay, again, we're supposed to go that way. You can check this way, but I happen to know that this is an actual dead end that doesn't have anything. But yeah, so that's also a possibility, I guess. Actually, yeah, I just realized I didn't really explain the dashing here. So yeah, this is called the reverse wind technique, which it's dashing, or yeah, it used to be rolling, but yeah, it's a dodge. But the reverse wind technique. So how do you do that? You do that by blocking and then pressing a direction. So yeah, I'm pressing left, you dodge left. You press down, you press down. You press up, you dodge up. Well, dodge forward, I guess. That happens as long as you are holding block. However, it's not necessarily block and then flicking a direction. You can also hold the direction and then press block. So why does that make a difference? Well, if you have an on landing status, you can immediately enter a run animation like this. So okay, that means that if you are running, you just have to press block in order to do the reverse wind technique, and the reverse wind technique can be cancelled with a jump. So if you just keep doing that one after another, that's usually how I move around, because that's actually faster than simply running. And a lot of times during a fight, you actually kind of want to move to a to another position as quickly as possible, so you're away from the enemy. And there you go. There. Usually just I mean, just to compare, if we start over here, oh hey, an enemy. Well, okay, yeah. If we start at this enemy over here, I'll just do that technique of dashing away and then jumping. Look how far I am from him afterwards. There. That's quite a lot of distance, really. Like, a big difference that Ninja Gaiden has compared to other action games, in fact, is the horizontal speed of Ryu, really. Or just any of the ninjas that you play. Because most other action games, you're gonna stay in touch range a lot, in fact. Whereas with Ryu, you are actually going to be moving back and forth between being in touch range or being in, or in how Dungeons & Dragons would call it, 5 feet away or something, or reach, I guess. Yeah, so most of your attacks, they are touch range. They are, you want to be right next to them. But some attacks, like this, like the Y attack, for example, this one, that actually moves you quite a bit further. And considering that the enemies usually attack you when in touch range, you can just plan around that and just attack before they attack with an attack that has more reach. And thus... Oh. Come on. There. This is also why that third slash of the Y attack can be very useful, because, yeah, there. I'm just essentially moving to the entire, yeah, from one side of this road to the other side of this road just by that attack alone. It really has a lot of range by compared to the regular X attack. Anyway, I think that, yeah. All right. Well, I just explained about the reverse wind. Here's an additional version of the reverse wind, which is the furious wind technique. So left trigger and a left stick while blocking. So press the reverse wind technique while blocking an enemy's attack to quickly dash away. When your defense has been broken, use this to avoid further damage. Yeah. So this is something that you could naturally do anyway with Ninja Gaiden 1, but I guess now they decided to kind of highlight it, in fact. Yeah, if you are blocking an enemy attack and your guard is broken, oh, so are you vulnerable then? Well, technically, you are able to just dodge out of that, in fact. And this game even adds a little after image to it, just to emphasize that you can do that. So yeah, the defense of Ryu is actually... very high when you compare that to other action title games. Okay. 2 towers. One of them probably is where the kidnapped Sonya is. So let's just go into that one tower then. Or, if you're Ryu Hayabusa, I guess, climb the other tower so you can jump into the other the first tower. Because, sure, that makes sense. Show off, yeah. Well, that's rude. Okay, something you might also kind of notice compared to Ninja Gaiden 1, the game is a lot more linear. Like, it's kind of funny that they decided to add that little where do I go button in this game, because I'm gonna have to argue that this game needs it a lot less than the first Ninja Gaiden game, which has a little bit more of an open world. But yeah, no, in this game, you're usually just gonna move forward all the time. So, with that in mind, there used to be a little thing where I pointed out that, oh, it's not, if there is a chest that has a healing item, but you have a full inventory, well, check if whether you are going to return here in the first place, because otherwise you might as well just use one of your healing items in your inventory to heal, and then just grab the healing item that's already in the chest. Well, in this game, you can assume that 90% of the time you're not going to return, actually. So, with that in mind, just keep doing that, actually. Even so, this game has a fun little system in check now, that if your inventory is full, I think it was over here that I think there would be a healing item here. That said, my Herb of Spiritual Life is actually at max now. Okay, so am I going to get the notification of, okay, a Herb of Spiritual Life, but now but I can't collect more because I have full inventory? Actually, they adjusted it now that if there were to be an Herb of Spiritual Life here, but you have a full inventory, it changes the contents of the chest to the amount of essence that you would need to buy it from Muramasa in the first place. Or, okay, that was way mushroom. Okay, but I guess so. I'll just have to demonstrate it in a different thing. But yeah, if I have a full inventory of the Devil's Way mushroom, there I would have gotten the essence that you would need in order to buy a new Devil's Way mushroom from Muramasa. So yeah, it's a good system to make sure that you just keep moving forward that way. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the level 2 upgrade of the Dragon Sword, it actually upgraded the Flying Swallow as well. Because remember that the Flying Swallow, you only did it once and then you land on the ground. Now, however, you can actually do it twice in a row. Twice in a row. There we go. Yeah. And every next one has more chance to actually cut off a head now. But actually, the level 2 upgrade is actually even more useful than you might initially think. Because notice that for the second Flying Swallow, now you are going to bounce up in order to actually do it. There. So, why is that useful? Well, this is now an on-landing status. So, that means that you can now use a Flying Swallow, bounce up in the air, and then land to do an ultimate technique. No, if you time it correctly. Come on. There, and then, there you go. You can now just combo together after a Flying Swallow now. So yeah, that's one of the other reasons why I recommend to upgrade the Dragon Sword first, above all else. Of course, the bouncing up thing only happens if you actually hit an enemy, so keep that in mind. Okay, back in the Xbox 360 Ninja Gaiden, there would have been a little puzzle here, like, oh, there's a keycard reader here, gonna have to find a keycard, and that is why you would have to go up here, and you find a broken keycard. Now instead there's a chest, which gives you blue essence. But yeah, that was supposed to be your first little puzzle, but as we have established in the previous Ninja Gaiden for beginners, they removed a lot of puzzles in these re-releases, so yeah, it is what it is. Alright, notebook, flying bird. Brother, heed my cries. No matter what I try, I am unable to perform the flying bird flip. Despite all the training you have given me, dear brother, I remain inept. You have explained flying bird as nothing but a series of jump. 1, 2, 3. Yet the technique that comes naturally to you feels to me like the unscalable peak of Mount Midoriyama. I train relentlessly, driven by a singular goal, to one day be as light-footed as you, dear brother. I keep telling myself that it is a matter of practice, that I must adhere to your wise instruction. Promise that you will train with me again when I return home. I'll see you soon. Love, little brother Mogura. So yeah, unfortunately I don't think Mogura is gonna come home. So many skill issues, yeah. Elevator control mechanism has been destroyed. Okay, so we can't use the elevator, or at least a normal person would not be able to use the elevator. Well, fortunately, Ryu does know how to use the flying bird flip. All right. Here's another demonstration of the counterattack there. But yeah, what makes counterattack extra useful is, well, notice how with one counterattack I cut off 2 of those guys' arms and leg, I guess. Yeah, which makes them an easy target for the obliteration technique again. So yeah, just testing it out again. Oh. Come on. There we go. There. That cut off a limb right there. Alright. Okay, just so I can properly demonstrate the whole chest thing, I am going to buy a Grains of Spiritual Life just to have a full inventory. That way, we will actually notice it when it happens. Okay. Yeah, we don't have enough essence right now in order to upgrade further. But we are about to head towards the boss of this chapter. And I just realized we might actually reach the 2-hour mark. That's actually kind of impressive when you compare this to Ninja Gaiden 1. So, who knew? I guess Ninja Gaiden 2 is actually... Oh, whoa. Camera. I guess Ninja Gaiden 2 is... Yeah, I think I already knew this. Ninja Gaiden 2 has less chapters compared to Ninja Gaiden 1, but each chapter is longer, in fact. Yeah, so I just did the combo that in Ninja Gaiden 1 would have become the kick attack. Again, it's now a slash attack instead. But with that slash attack, there's a lot of chances to cut off the leg. I mean, that you... whenever you look at the animation, whatever it seems to target with the animation, that's probably what it targets. Like there. That one probably hits the leg. That one probably hits the leg. Like, there's a logic to the animations and what limb it actually targets. Alright. So, we're gonna face off against the first boss, and there is a little thing that I always explain with the boss battles in the previous Ninja Gaiden for Beginners, but let's go over them again when with this boss battle.
Shall not pass.
Gandalf, you look different. Hello, Shadow Ninja Resetsu. Oh. I kind of figured we might have a bit more of a friendly conversation here, but I guess not. Alright, so... the thing with bosses in Ninja Gaiden, I've seen a lot of people they see the boss for the first time and they just go, alright, I'm just gonna keep attacking the boss. That's usually not a good idea. My recommendation is that whenever you face a boss for the first time, take the time to learn their patterns first. Don't attack, and instead just kind of look at what attacks do they do, because it turns out that every enemy or every boss essentially works like you, in fact. So they have attacks that have a certain recovery animation after their usual attacks, just like you have. So yeah, after he does that attack, there's an opening. After this attack, there's an opening. And sometimes he does a taunt, which usually is also an opening. So yeah, just kind of try to identify his moves, and after you have figured out his moves, that's when you actually attack. Okay, so after you have studied those attacks, what attacks will you do? Well, I explained that the XXY attack is pretty powerful in terms of cutting off a limb. Well, this is not necessary to cut off a limb of an enemy or of the boss, but it turns out that the XXY attack also does a lot of damage, in fact, actually. So, not only that, we have Dragon Sword at level 2 now. There is a little upgrade to the XXY attack, so, because now it's not just XXY, it's XX forward Y. The forward Y, that does a lot of damage. So, just gonna demonstrate that. Okay, let's just wait for an opening. Come on. There. Look at the damage. And this is just a level 2 Dragon Sword. Every upgrade that you do with a weapon, it also raises their damage. And this is just a level 2 Dragon Sword. So, yeah. Also, something to keep in mind, you are invincible in the first few frames of your reverse wind, of your dash. So, that also makes it a viable way to dodge enemy attacks. That also means that, in defiance of all logic, sometimes it is better to actually dash into an opponent instead of away from an opponent. So, for example, okay, he does this attack which would break your guard. Okay, how about instead of letting him break my guard, I will dash forward. There. Either I will simply still be in range after the dash, or I will pass by him in order to attack his back afterwards. So yeah. Dodging forward may not always sound like the most logical thing, but after a while it does actually get kind of intuitive to either dodge away or dodge forward or dodge. Yeah, just every direction is weirdly enough a viable thing. Yeah, feels weird. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, as I'm showing here, it is actually very useful. Also, you notice that the little after image, that's what happens when your block is broken and then you dash out of it. Of course, now he starts doing the grab attack all the time. Well, at least now I can show what the grab attack is. Which, yeah, brings us to the hero mode. And yet again, I'm not pressing anything, and Ryu will dodge everything automatically while in hero mode. So, reminds me of you dodging counter dumps. Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's probably why the dodging counter dumps, it kind of weirdly made sense to me in Mega Man Battle Network. But yeah, so yeah, dodging forward is actually an option. Alright. Can you do the dash with a lot of enemies, or can it be risky? Usually it's a viable option for almost all enemies, in fact. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Okay. With that in mind, let's just try to beat this boss before the hero mode is over. Yeah. Not all bosses. That's something for Ninja Gaiden 4 to finally fix. But yeah, not all bosses have an actual animation where you can then obliterate them with the obliteration technique. But in Ninja Gaiden 2, they have a few enemies that have that, and it's always cool to do. So yeah, let's do the obliteration technique against our first boss.
You're coming with us. Stop struggling. Take us up.
Again, they make the shurikens look so powerful in these cutscenes, but yeah, they're usually more like the repositioning things you use, or distraction items.
You can have her, Ryu Hayabusa. She's just a tool of the CIA. You bought us the time we needed. Ryu, I finally found you.
So, what does the CIA want with me?
Oh, don't worry, you'll work with CIA more often after this, Ryu.
We have a serious problem. The Fiends are trying to resurrect the Archfiend. We can't let that happen.
I see the agency's broadened its horizons.
Ryu, they're heading for the Hayabusa village. They're after the demon statue. Your clan is in danger.
Oh man, again? Yeah, I might as well just point out, Sonya, I thought this is Irene. Yeah, back when they wrote this, they were under the impression that the modern Ninja Gaiden games were actually reboots of the NES Ninja Gaiden games rather than a prequel. It's Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge that decided that all these games were prequels to the NES Ninja Gaiden games to begin with. But, yeah, her name here is Sonya. It ended up actually being a code name that she's been using throughout this entire game. And yeah, by Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, she just goes by Irene, which is her actual name. Yeah, there are still some continuity issues, unfortunately. Like, that is essentially why I did the whole Ninja Gaiden Divine Light edit to begin with, just to actually have everything make sense again. But yeah, so yeah, her name is Sonya in this game, but it's actually a code name that she is using. Funnily enough, in Dead or Alive 6, there is a file that kind of shows that Irene loves to use the name Sonya. Like, she actually uses Sonya as another code name for a mission, in fact. So yeah, for some reason, she just likes the name Sonya. And like, I'd love to imagine that if Ryu and Irene would have a daughter, they would call it Sonya because Irene just loves that name so much. So yeah, just a little thing I'm just pointing out here. Anyway, Chapter 2. Ooh, I'd love that. Yeah. Chapter 2, The Castle of the Dragon. The shadow of the Black Spider clan reaches Hayabusa village. They hunt for the demon statue, the key to resurrecting the Archfiend. Only Joe Hayabusa, his body still mending from his last battle, stands between them. Genshin, leader of the Black Spider Ninja clan, faces his longtime rival in a fateful duel. As the Castle of the Dragon burns, the otherworldly Elizabeth smiles coldly. The seal binding the demon statue is broken. Yeah, so the whole reason why Elizabeth kidnapped Irene and all that, or Sonya. Let's just go with Sonya just for consistency's sake here. But yeah, she kidnapped Sonya mostly to lure in Ryu, so that Ryu will not be there when the Hayabusa village is getting attacked by Genshin. It's a coordinated tactic that they were doing.
Genshin. Why am I not surprised?
How the vaunted Dragon Ninja bloodline has withered, Joe Hayabusa.
Your embrace of the evil way has consumed you.
Evil. The ninja way knows neither good nor evil.
Corruption of the soul is a fate that befalls the weak.
Enough talk. The ties that bind our clans are severed tonight. Bloodstains of my flame. Fool.
The quote of Genshin there, where he says, evil, the ninja way knows neither good nor evil. That's kind of a common theme that keeps coming back throughout the games. So yeah, something to point out there. Anyway, this is chapter 2, and yeah, after chapter 2, that's going to be the end of this stream. Alright, Notebook, Flying Swallow. Let's see how this one messes it up. The Flying Swallow has exactly the sort of thing I need. Fast as an eagle, sharp as a knife, explosive power that makes your head spin. Today, I begin my daily training regimen. 1,000 leaps high into the air, followed by 1,000 slices with my sword. One day, I will be able to combine the two. Dive and slash. I will be unstoppable. Tori no Shin. So, funny little theory that I have, in fact. Yeah. Look, notice how Tori no Shin is, like, very, very driven to, train and all that in order to master the Flying Swallow. Obviously, it did not work out. He's dead here. But the thing is that we also had this notebook of Mogura, who had trouble with the flying bird flip. So yeah, he keeps saying, no matter what I try, I'm unable to perform the flying bird flip. Despite all the training you have given me, dear brother, I remain inept. So yeah, knowing how enthusiastic Tori no Shin is about training, my little theory is that Tori no Shin might be the big brother of Mogura. So yeah, that's there's no confirmation of it, but I just like to think so. If only just to kind of connect the two Black Spider ninjas this way, and it also kind of makes sense that that one would be trying to practice Flying Swallow while he was training 1,000 leaps high into the air, because, well, that's what the flying bird flip would be. That's the wall jump. So yeah, that's a little theory I have. Nothing is confirmed, but something I'd like to believe. Anyway, oh, this is the grave Korea, Ryu's childhood friend and shrine maiden of the dragon lineage. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to grieve over my childhood friend here. Do you mind? I guess they want to send Ryu to Korea there. Anyway, yeah. So, every modern Ninja Gaiden game has Ryu remembering Korea in some shape or form. Usually with the grave and all that. And, well, Ninja Gaiden Sigma also ended with the after credits scene with him putting the dragon's eye back in at the grave Korea and all that. This game, or at least the Xbox 360 version of Ninja Gaiden 2, also had another special thing to the grave here. It's gone now. So yeah, I will rant about that when we get there, but yeah. There's a lot of things that still kind of piss me off about all these re-releases, and unfortunately, every modern Ninja Gaiden game has something of that. Okay, the thing with these dogs, yeah, unfortunately we also fight with dogs in this game. The dogs, don't have a lot of health, but they are very aggressive. So usually the best way to deal with them is actually to use the Flying Swallow that the notebook happened to be talking about. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Okay, still don't have... Oh, wait, hold on. How much money do I have? Oh, not enough to upgrade. Okay, then I'll just continue here. So, back in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, this would be where we fought with the horseman, Masakado, the guy on fire, you know? Yeah, so, funny how how things are still kind of the same way in terms of how the Hayabusa village is. Yeah, like the grave is even in the same place and all that. So yeah, fun little continuity in terms of level design there. Okay, so I think I kind of got through the general basics of everything. If something is not clear yet, go ahead and ask them in the chat. I'm here to explain things and all that. And I'll try not to use things like the Izuna drop too much, but I can understand that it does look like a lot of random moves and all that. So, yeah, if something isn't clear, go ahead and ask them in the chat. So, for that encounter, we got the Life of the Gods. So now we got 3 of the 9. Okay, and again, you can always just hold the center control center camera button, just to point to where you're supposed to be going. Reverse wind technique. Okay, now they explain it. All right. So yeah, you use left trigger and left stick to perform a quick dash in the direction indicated by the left stick. Use it to dodge enemy attacks or get close and finish them off. Yeah. They even outright say that you can also use it to get close to an enemy rather than actually dodging. So yeah, just kind of take that idea and just also dodge into an enemy attack that way. Oh, actually, yeah, there is a fun little something in Ninja Gaiden 1. You have this move where you, let's see, yeah, where you rotate the control stick in a 360 motion and then press Y, and it will do this here. Yeah, so it's also a little uppercut thing. I said it was kind of weird that in Ninja Gaiden 1, yeah, it kind of looks like an uppercut that should lead to an Izuna drop, right? But yeah, you can't in Ninja Gaiden 1. Fortunately, someone finally fixed that mistake in Ninja Gaiden 2, so you can in fact just use that. There we go. Do an Izuna drop. You can you can even kind of use it as an on-landing attack, in fact. So yeah, if you just jump towards an enemy and then just, yeah, you can kind of do the 360 motion while in the air, because you are just going to move forward during the jump anyway. So yeah, just use that time in the air to rotate the stick 360 degrees and then press Y when you are landing. There. Also, another reason, in fact, to upgrade Dragon Sword to level 2. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of things that the level 2 Dragon Sword really helps with. Yeah, back in Ninja Gaiden 1, at level 3, the Dragon Sword would gain this attack if you press X while landing. Oh, come on. There we go. Yeah. Which is very useful because it essentially works as an alternative to the first X slash. So you can follow any combo up that usually would be followed by a normal X attack with this on-landing X attack. So that means that X and Y, yeah, you can do that here as well. X, Y, X, Y, X, Y. Okay, but yeah, like I said, in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, it necessitated the Dragon Sword to be at level 2, level 3, in fact. Now, level 2 already gives you this. That's actually a cool thing about the combo list of Ninja Gaiden 2, in fact. It's almost like Ryu starts at Ninja Gaiden Sigma's level 2 with the Dragon Sword, and level 2 here is actually level 3 of Ninja Gaiden Sigma. So that means that level 3 here in this game would technically be a level 4 Dragon Sword. So yeah, it's kind of like a cool thing how it kind of shows that Ryu is already more powerful at the start of Ninja Gaiden 2 than he is in Ninja Gaiden 1, which makes sense canonically, but yeah, it's just cool to kind of see that in gameplay. Oh, question for a chat. What do you think would improve this game? Also, yeah, back in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1, this is the warehouse, the storage shed that you would find Muramasa's shop for the first time. And also, yeah, there are these targets here. It is possible to replay the game where you would actually have the bow and arrow here. And the same trick can be done yet again, where you can just use the bow and arrow and shoot these targets to get essences from, just like in Ninja Gaiden Sigma. So, funny how they keep that little Easter egg in there. Alright, no more of this item can be carried. Oh, okay, yeah, so I talked about the chest, how that changes to essence. That is not the case for dead ninjas. So yeah, you're still gonna get this thing with Herb Spiritual Life, but no more of this item can be carried. Well, we're never gonna be here again anyway. Well, okay, not here with this version of this stage. So might as well just use this the Herb Spiritual Life that you already have in your inventory, just to get that free heal, and then grab this Herb Spiritual Life here and keep your inventory full that way. Okay, so here's the water thing. Yeah, as long as you keep pressing A while on the surface of water, Ryu will run underwater. Yeah. I'd love to remind everybody that in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, he said along the lines of, my strength comes from training, not from some curse in my blood. Ryu, how do you train to do this? Like how, Ryu? Anyway, if you are... yeah. Alright, so, if you are on the surface of the water and you're not tapping A to run underwater, you can hold A in order to dive. And when you are underwater, well, first of all, this would be where another Crystal Skull would be, for those who are curious enough to actually look underwater. Also, there's no breath meter anymore. Yeah, back in Ninja Gaiden 1, Ryu would have to find an oxygen tank in order to be able to breathe underwater indefinitely. I guess he just trained to be able to hold his breath indefinitely now. I don't know. Okay, in addition to being able to run underwater, do you remember that in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, you also were able to do attacks while running on the water? Well, back in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, pressing X would just be a single slash, like this. Now you can also do 2 slashes. Can you give tips on how to hold your breath in real life indefinitely? I would not know that. You're gonna have to ask Ryu Hayabusa himself how the heck he's doing that. But, alright. So yeah, you can now do 2 slashes, in fact, on the water instead of a single slash. Okay, why does that make a difference? Well, because now you can do X and then Y in order to do an uppercut. Yeah, just like how you do it on the ground. So that means that if you pull this off against an enemy, you can Izuna drop them, in fact. But yeah, right now he's not really in the best position. In that case, I think I will just Izuna drop him just from the edge of this thing. So yeah, that's something you can do. But in addition, in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, pressing Y while running on the water would naturally lead to the uppercut in the first place. So since you do the uppercut with X, Y now instead of just Y, what does simply pressing Y do? Well, Ryu will actually automatically jump and do the Flying Swallow. So if you need to quickly move out of the water and into an enemy, I would recommend actually running on the water and then pressing Y, because that way Ryu will automatically use the Flying Swallow to quickly reach the closest enemy. Question for a chat, how are you with spoilers? Okay, if this looks a little bit familiar, well, you might recognize this a bit better if it was all on fire. Yeah, this is where Ryu would have met Doku for the first time. Well, actually, it's right over there in the distance where Ryu would meet Doku for the first time. Yeah, but yeah, in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, you would have beaten the Masakado, the flaming guy on the horseback, and then you end up here where everything is on fire. So yeah, so if it looks a bit familiar, that's because it is the same environment in fact. Alright, counterattack technique. So, X or Y while blocking. While blocking enemy strike, press X or Y to counterattack. Use this to fight back even when faced with insurmountable odds. I've already also shown that it also has quite a lot of chances to actually cut off a limb, in fact. Honestly, I would have had it that the actual video would actually show that enemy losing a limb, just to actually emphasize how high of a chance it has for taking off a limb. Okay. You know what? Yeah, let's actually do the counterattack just to emphasize. There we go. Wow. It's funny how this doesn't cut off a limb right now. There we go. Okay, so, this is where Ryu faced Doku for the first time. So, I'll talk more about that after the fights here, but instead of going forward, how about we enter this building first? So, we got the Lunar Staff, which is a returning weapon. How about we get something new instead? The Falcon's Talons, a unique evolution of a ninja's traditional hand-mounted claws. To equip this weapon, press up to open the weapons shortcut menu. Alright, let's just actually read the lore of the weapons, because we don't need to learn the lore about the healing items, but the weapons is pretty cool to read about. An advanced version of the hand claws, or tekokagi, that have been an essential part of the ninja's arsenal since ancient times. It's funny they should mention that, because in Neo 2, yeah, the ancestor of Ryu Hayabusa actually uses a version of the Falcon Talon. So yeah, it is proven that it's actually used in ancient times, turns out. Modeled after the talons of birds of prey, this set includes both steel claws for the hands and bladed foot attachments. The basic hand and foot techniques learned by every ninja can be converted into brutal cutting and slashing attacks with these weapons. Although the claws themselves are short, the use of multiple blades on each appendage increase the overall cutting surface for devastating attack capability. The gauntlets to which the blades are attached also enhance the wearer's defensive capabilities, making them extremely versatile weapons. Alright, so let's equip this, and interesting. I didn't think we were playing the Wolverine game already, but here you go. So, yeah. The X combo is also, in a similar way, a multi-hitter. The Y combo, yeah, also a two-hitter. Again, that's usually the case with all of these weapons at level 1. So, what makes the Falcon Talon special? Well, all the other weapons, when you do the... just as bloody, Wolverine, yeah. Yeah, but, yeah, most of the weapons, when you do an Izuna... Wolverine Gaiden 2, yes indeed. Most of these weapons, when you do the Zuna drop, well, you do this. You do X, Y, X. Okay, let's try again. X, Y, X, 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 Y. So yeah, 3 hits in the air and all that. Well, I said that the enemies usually don't hit you when you are in the air, but let's just say there might be a slight chance they would still hit you while you are doing the 3 hits in the air before the actual Izuna drop. Okay, what if you somehow cut off the middleman? What if you just immediately go from a flying swallow to an Izuna drop? Well, that's what you can do here with the Falcon Talons. Well, if you actually hit them properly. Come on. Oh, come on. These. There we go. There. So, the first hit of the flying swallow, there. It launches both you and the enemy up in the air. There, like that. So, all you have to do is just press X once, and then press Y again. So, there you go. Of course, these walls happen to kind of get in the way here, but, yeah. If you want a very quick Izuna drop, the Falcon Talons is your weapon, really. So, yeah. Okay, so, of course, let's see how this guy feels. Notebook, Ultimate Guidance. I'm no good at the technique of Ultimate Guidance. I'm probably the worst in the clan. When I see Essence near me, I grab the hilt of my sword, close my eyes, and focus my key energy. But the Essence doesn't budge. Instead, I end up getting kicked in the face. In the thick of battle, I never once pulled off a true ultimate technique. Sure, I've made it to the first level of charge, which is just simply holding Y, but I've never even seen the second or third levels. Yeah, so the second would be the blue charge, and the third is the red charge. Masters of ultimate guidance absorb the essence created from their first ultimate technique. It's amazing how they create a wave of attack energy that repeats again and again, growing stronger every time. I, on the other hand, am only a master of getting kicked in the face. Oshinojo. Oh, well. Turns out the last kick to the face was fatal to him, it turns out. Alright, so, like I said, just Flying Swallow, which launches you in the air, then press X and Y, and thus you do the Izuna drop with the Falcon Talons. So if the Izuna drop seems like too many buttons for you in with the other weapons, well, here's an easy way to do the Izuna drop, just one after another. Just use the Wind Run in order to jump towards an enemy, press Y in order to do the Flying Swallow. In fact, yeah, I'm just gonna show the actual two parts to it. Yeah, so just gonna do Flying Swallow. There you go. By doing Wind Run and then Flying Swallow, and then press Y to do Flying Swallow. And when you are in the air, that's when you press X and Y. There. So yeah. All right. But yeah, like I said, this is where Ryu got killed by Doku for the first time. Yeah, this was where well, I say unwinnable. The plot demands that you lose against Doku. If you are good enough, you actually are able to beat Doku, but the story will still continue as if you lost against Doku. But yeah, this is where the plot started, with Ryu dying by Doku and then getting resurrected by the deity of sentiment and all that. So that also means this is where Kureha died. This is where this is the last place where Ryu saw Kureha alive. So that makes this actually kind of a significant area, actually. And even if you press interact right now, the door to the relic room is held firmly shut. Okay, so does that mean that we get to open this relic room because this is such an important thing? Yes, in the Xbox 360 version of Ninja Gaiden 2. Not the Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, not in this version. You never open this relic room in this version and the Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. It's only in the Xbox 360 version of Ninja Gaiden 2. So yeah, when I said there are things that annoy me about these re-releases and why I still prefer the Xbox 360 version of the Ninja Gaiden 2, yeah, these are the things. Like, I just said that it is actually kind of an important area here, and they even have the setup here. The fact that you can interact with it and have Ryu say the door to the relic room is held firmly shut. Okay, does that mean that I get to open it? Not in this game. So yeah. So it's now a setup for nothing, really. So that's kind of part of what annoys me. So yeah, but again, I will probably rant even more about this when we actually get here, when we're supposed to open this. But yeah. Anyway, Falcon Talons. Izuna drop. Well, we already explained Izuna drop multiple times, but let's just go with this. So it says XY, XXY. Well, usually it would be 3 X's, but anyway, after pressing XY to lift an enemy, use the chance to attack them while airborne. Press Y. Pressing Y will suck them into a vortex. This is the essence of the Izuna drop. So they do kind of explain that different weapons have different combos. Like Dragon Sword is XY, XXXY, so 3 slashes before you press Y. Lunar Staff is only 2 X's, so Lunar Staff XY, XXY. Falcon Talons, that's the same as Dragon Sword, but they don't mention the fact that you can do the Flying Swallow and then XY. So yeah, remember them well. All right. Well, with that in mind, I've yet to actually show the Lunar Staff doing the Izuna drop. Let's actually show that off just to show it here. So XY in order to get both you and the enemy in the air. If the enemy allows it. There we go. There. So yeah. Get them in the air, and when they are in the air, that's when you press X 2 times for the lunar, and then Y in order to do the Izuna drop. Oh, come on. Yeah. 2 hits. Oh, come on. There. And again, if these inputs for these Izuna drops are a little bit too difficult, you don't have to learn them. I still recommend you do, but generally speaking, because of the way they have added the obliteration technique to this whole thing. Attacks on the ground are still useful on their own now, so you don't have to learn a unit drop. I would recommend you do though, because yeah, a lot of times you kind of avoid the enemy damage because you are in the air as a result. Also, yeah, I did also point out with the Dragon Sword, yeah, that the wall jump and then X attack is very useful. Yeah, just gonna show it here again. Yeah. So, you don't have to be above an enemy. You can also kind of be wall jumping towards an enemy and then pressing X to do this wall attack. So yeah, while this wall attack with Y is still useful because of the invincibility frames, generally speaking, you kind of want to use the X attack when jumping from a wall now because of how much damage that does. Alright, let's tone it down with the Isuna drops here. Yeah, and again, the Y combo, yeah, back in Ninja Gaiden 1, pressing Y multiple times usually is not that much of a, not that useful, because you would usually just have a single Y attack. Usually Y would instead be something that you charge for an ultimate technique. But in this game, because Y has become a full combo, and especially with level 2 usually makes that a 3-hit combo, and the third hit usually does a lot of damage. I do have enough to at least buy... oh yeah, come think of it, yeah, the 50% discount that Muramasa gives you because you have found all the crystal skulls, that's only for the items you... the healing items and all that. Notice how it says 50% off with the crystal skulls on the upper left there, but not here, not at the blacksmith. So the blacksmith, this is still the same in terms of how much it costs, and that depends on which difficulty you play. But yeah, 10,000 is needed to bring it from level 1 to level 2. So, should we upgrade the Falcon's Talons or the Lunar Staff? My recommendation that, just as a general rule with all of these weapons, I would recommend not immediately saving up for a level 3 weapon, unless you really are certain that you're just going to use that one weapon. But yeah, actually I would recommend you actually experiment a little bit with the different weapons, and with that in mind, I would say try to get all weapons at level 2 first before you actually even start bringing any of those weapons to level 3. So with that in mind, what are we going to upgrade? The Lunar Staff or the Falcon's Talons? I would say the Falcon's Talons at level 1 is already very useful because of the fact that you can do a Flying Swallow into an Izuna drop. So right now, you don't really need to have the Falcon Talons at level 2. Yes, take notes. I would say Lunar at level 2 is actually more useful as an upgrade than the Falcon Talons at level 2. So, also funny little fact, the Lunar Staff. I did say the Lunar Staff looks familiar. The thing is, the Lunar Staff that you see here, yeah, it's a level 1, supposedly, but this is actually the level 2 look of the Lunar Staff in Ninja Gaiden 1. Okay, so that means that level 2 Lunar Staff, yeah, looks like a recolored version of the level 3 Lunar Staff in Ninja Gaiden 1. Like, it's not red, it's white, but still, it's relatively the same thing. Oh, that means that level 3 Lunar Staff would look like something new. Okay, yeah, so that's a cool thing about the design that I kind of like, how they really do emphasize that Ryu essentially starts off relatively at level 2 instead of at the Ninja Gaiden Sigma's level 1. Just a cool little progression thing with Ryu there. Question for chat: what do you think could have been pitfalls for this game's quality? Well, what could have been pitfalls to this game's quality? But yeah, that's the Lunar Staff at level 2. So why would I recommend the Lunar Staff to be upgraded compared to the Falcon Talons? Well, let's see. Yeah, so Okay, let's see. Where do I find the hold? Okay, so you have the ultimate technique. I'm putting it at the top here. The ultimate technique, which is Remnant Blossoms, then 8 Destructions, then Dance of Flame. Yeah, the flame, that's the one that has him twirl around and have everything burning and all that. Okay, so that's the Lunar Staff's ultimate technique. What if you had a second ultimate technique? Yeah, so if you scroll down a little bit lower here, yeah, level 2 adds the 360Y, which you can hold to do another ultimate technique. So, now it's a Flashing Current, Waning Evil, Hazy Shadow, Heavenly Shadow, and Izuna Drop. Yeah, so Lunar Staff's 360 combo can be chained into an Izuna Drop. So, just to show how it actually looks like. So, yeah. So, it's 360 and then Y hold. Yeah, so notice how it ended with him going into the air. If you press Y while in the air, because you are launching an enemy along with you in the air, that ends up becoming an Izuna Drop. So, I say that. How about we demonstrate that? Boy, this seems empty, doesn't it? Yeah, back in Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360, you would have been ambushed here, but of course, they have to remove things. Anyway. Okay, so, let's just charge it. Alright. I'm not even timing it, I'm just mashing Y, because one of these will end up becoming the Izuna Drop. But there you go, that's the ultimate technique that actually chains into an Izuna Drop. And cool, yeah. What's funny is that the Izuna Drop most of the time is not even necessary. Like, the first few slashes while he's twirling around, that's usually enough to kill enemies. But the Izuna Drop is just cherry tapping at this point. But yeah. Notebook, counterattack. Oh, well, let's see this guy mess up. I am incapable of performing counterattack. What a surprise. I understand that its hidden power, unleashed when the enemy least expects it, makes the counterattack one of the most valuable techniques there is. Its execution, however, continues to elude me. I react too quickly. I lack the patience to wait for my enemy to strike. My fellow ninjas say that counterattack is easy. A mere flash of the blade after you see your enemy's weapon bounce back from your block. Yeah, I keep telling you, just wait for the ting of the block. Well, they're literally just saying it. The mere flash of the blade after you see your enemy's weapon bounce back from your block. So yeah, that's essentially when you are supposed to press X or Y. Yet the more I concentrate on timing, the more I fall victim to the bite of my enemy's attack. Skilled ninja counter opponents as easily as they breathe in and out. They react on reflex, moving not by thought but by instinct. My master even tells the young apprentice ninja, begin with something easy, like the counterattack. I must persevere. I will not give up so easily. Inoshishi. I wonder if he failed a counterattack and ended up dying as a result. That's unfortunate. But yeah, like I said, the first few slashes usually are already enough to actually kill the enemy. The actual Izuna Drop at the end, that's just extra, really. Counterattacked his life, yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's why I recommend upgrading the Lunar Staff before actually upgrading the Falcon Talons. Okay, another useful thing about this ultimate technique actually is that look at all these ultimate techniques of the Dragon Sword, for example. Like Dragon Sword, yeah, you first have to do that one slash, and that one slash has to actually hit an enemy in order to actually do the auto combo. Same case with the Falcon Talons. You have to actually hit that first hit in order to actually do the auto combo. That's also the case with the normal Lunar Staff ultimate technique. There. But that's the special thing about this 360 ultimate technique. Oh. Whether you hit an enemy or not, that does not stop it from happening. And this actually makes it very useful because sometimes you happen to miss that first hit, and then the enemy just hits you afterwards. Well, this attack will just continue anyway, so even if you do miss the first hit, you will just continue, and like I said, most of those hits down below will probably kill the enemy anyway, so yeah. So I wouldn't say that the Lunar is the game breaker that the Labor Flawlessness was in the original Ninja Gaiden, but in terms of the early game of Ninja Gaiden 2, I would say that the Lunar is actually the most useful thing to actually have fully upgraded before everything else. So yeah. Guillotine Throw. So yeah, X and A while jumping forward. So press A to run like the wind. Then press X and A inside the enemy's guard to hurl them by the head with terrible force. This move is called the Guillotine Throw. Yeah, so if an enemy is blocking too much, just use the Guillotine Throw. And, well, the thing is that the command of Guillotine Throw, that's the same as the Wind Run. And Wind Run makes you jump towards an enemy. So instead of reminding yourself, okay, jump towards the enemy and then X and A, you can also just kind of look at it as press XA twice. So one XA in order to jump towards an enemy, and XA again when you are within the guard of that enemy. So let's test that. Okay, so, no. XA to... Oh. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so press XA in order to jump towards an enemy, and then press XA again in order to throw them. And Ryu throws them so hard, sometimes he actually decapitates them, so... Let's see if that happens again. There we go. Like, sometimes it's the collision of the wall itself, but... It is possible for it to just kind of... Yeah, he kind of lost his head before he actually ended up on the wall there. So, yeah. Ryu's strength is kind of terrifying when you really think about it. Also, if if the command of the Zuna drop of XYXXY also seems a little bit too unintuitive to some people, well, the Lunar can also kind of help with that, because if you use the Dragon Sword, yeah, and you do the X attack while in the air, yeah, you can obviously miss an enemy because you are too high. The funny thing about the Lunar Staff is that the X attack in the air also aims downwards. So that means that you can, in fact, just jump towards an enemy and just press XX and then Y. There. So this is, yet again, one of the reasons why I think Ninja Gaiden 2 is actually a good place to start if you don't want to get into Ninja Gaiden 1, because Ninja Gaiden 2 actually has a lot of these things that just kind of help you along. With Ninja Gaiden 1, you're going to have to kind of learn to use the Izuna drop just normal way, but now look at the amount of ways you can actually get into the Izuna drop in this game, and you can even start with the Izuna drop. So yeah. Notebook, Ultimate Technique. If I were a master of the Ultimate Technique, I would easily defeat that pest, the Dragon Ninja. If only it were so easy. You see, I am inept. I cannot perform the Ultimate Technique. I am numb to the waves of energy that surge in the wind. I don't even know where to begin. All I can do is look from afar as Master Genshin unleashes an explosive flurry of attacks. Okay, so, first of all, yeah, failure of this character, sure, but they're also kind of hyping up Genshin, in fact. So, oh, Genshin can use the Ultimate Technique. Oh, what happens if I have to actually face that? Alright. What an amazing display of concentration. He pauses, even in the midst of intense combat, and focuses all his energy into his weapon. But I'm just a coward, too frightened to let my guard down for an instant. First, I must find courage. Then, it is simply a matter of kill or be killed. If my destiny lies in the pit of the underworld, so be it. Sunikichi. Okay, I'm gonna assume that he's one of the ninjas we're gonna meet in the underworld. So, all right. Okay. Like I said, even if the first hit did not, the first hit of that ultimate technique did not actually hit, it still continues. So, considering Ryu keeps moving forward with it anyway, you have a very high chance of actually hitting the enemy with it somewhere down the line. Okay, but if you don't want to use the ultimate technique too often, it's still an option to simply use the other combos. Like I said, the XXY combo is still pretty much the most effective way to actually get rid of a limb. There. And now you can just do an obliteration technique afterwards. Also a reminder that the level 2 Dragon Sword changed the Flying Swallow so that Ryu now kind of bounces off the enemy afterwards. So, again, you end up in on landing status afterwards, so you use that. Okay, so remember how archery worked in the previous Ninja Gaiden game? So you had a first-person view and all that. So Fiend's Bane Bow, a powerful bow decorated with twin dragon head carvings. A powerful bow decorated with carvings of twin dragons. The silent nature of the bow makes it an indispensable weapon for covert operations. The Fiend's Bane Bow, developed in Hayabusa Village, is a state-of-the-art compound bow based on traditional Eastern design. Its accuracy rivals that of a modern rifle. Crafted primarily from high tensile strength carbon fiber, the bow's projectile range and velocity are unequal despite its light weight. Against human targets, it is deadly up to 500 meters, and its arrows are capable of penetrating 40mm bulletproof armor plating. All right, well, let's equip it. All right, so we have the bow and arrow. So I pressed the projectile weapon button. Wait a minute. I'm still using the shurikens. So what's going on? Well, actually, the B button no longer is the... Well, it is the projectile weapon attack, sure. But actually for Ryu will always use the projectile... the shuriken in this game when you press B. Instead, it is two... projectile weapons, like right now it's just the Fiend's Bane bow. You're gonna get something else in this game afterwards as well. But in order to use that, you press, well, in my case, the right bumper. So that will shoot the arrow. Okay, but if you want to aim, that is when you press, in my case, the left bumper, so that you enter into this third-person view in order to actually aim. So yeah, there you go. It essentially becomes a third-person shooter, and Ryu even is able to move around like this. He doesn't run as fast as you would in a first-person shooter, but yeah, you can now kind of move and shoot at the same time. So yeah, just kind of imagine that Ryu now suddenly has a Resident Evil style of aiming, I guess. So yeah, that's something that they kind of adjusted with the bow and arrow in this game. Not only that, they give you a little target practice here, and with the target practice, you will notice, oh, it has an auto lock on as well. So yeah, if you... Ryu holding the bowstring and moving says a lot about how strong he is. If all ninja killing wasn't enough to tell, yeah, that's true. But yeah, the game also has auto aim. So if aiming is something that you have trouble with, don't worry, just hold down the aim, and Ryu will automatically aim towards the nearest enemy. You can also zoom in if you want. Oh hey. So this is not Shadow Ninja Rasetsu. You will notice that the boss health bars also have names now. So it says this is Gyuki. So yeah, I guess there are multiples of these Shadow Ninjas. But yeah, now we have already learned how to fight against these Shadow Ninjas. Let's dash into his range and start using this combo again. Yeah, X, X, Y, and then forward Y. Like I said, it does a lot of damage, especially for early game and all that. But, we did get the Lunar Staff, right? Well, yeah, so I did say that the new ultimate technique of the Lunar Staff will continue no matter what. Well, usually a boss would block the first slash of an ultimate technique, and thus they will kind of cancel the ultimate technique. Well, the Lunar Staff will just continue on no matter what, right? There we go. If you have trouble with these enemies, go ahead and use these. And also, just a fun little thing in this game is that every weapon has a different obliteration technique against these mini bosses. So yeah, we already saw the one from Dragon Sword. This is what the Lunar Staff's obliteration technique looks on these enemies. Oh, come on, there we go. Like, I just love the amount of detail they put in all of these animations.
And thus the sun sets on the Dragon Ninja bloodline.
Oh my god. Inside this statue is another statue. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it turns out their goal is actually the demon statue, which Ryu found in the previous game.
The demon statue is ours. This statue is the talisman of Mount Fuji.
Now the sacred peak erupts.
The gates of the underworld are opened.
The fiends are unleashed.
Yeah, so they wanted the demon statue because that opens up the gate to the underworld in Mount Fuji. I sense a lot of people crying for some reason. Like, oh, right, like the Hinasaki family and the Kurosawa family. Anyway, let's continue. Alright. Yeah. Alright, so, I think this is going to be another case. Yeah, so, no more of this item can be carried. Well, seems like a little bit of a waste to use an entire Grains of Spiritual Life, but again, we're not going to return here, at least not this version of the stage anyway, so just use it and just use it as a free heal. Most of the time you're probably gonna, on a first playthrough, you're probably gonna need it, mostly because you just fought Kyuki there. Okay, okay. Fun fact, I know for a fact that that there's going to be some enemies that are gonna bust through these shoji doors. If you happen to know that they're there, you can't just you can't just flying swallow through them and just surprise them. In fact, if you actually aim correctly so that you actually hit them. But yeah, you can kind of turn the tables on them when they try to ambush you. Funnily enough. Also, yeah, you have unlimited arrows in this game. Just all projectiles is just unlimited in this game. That was not the case in the original Xbox 360 Ninja Gaiden. Just like the Ninja Gaiden Sigma and Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden, the Xbox Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360 had limited arrows, but there are places to refill arrows, like dead ninjas that have arrows in them, just like in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, or there would have been a holder for arrows here. So yeah, there are multiple reasons to actually kind of look around, not only to get healing items, but also for refills like that. But yeah, they just simplify things to the point of just giving you unlimited ammos now, so no need for that, I guess. Okay, so, just pointing out here. Oh, look, it's the White Tiger. Yeah, Byakko, the White Tiger. In fact, in this stage, you're going to get to see all 4 of the Eastern Gods throughout this castle. So, fun little fact there. All right, so we just got the bow and arrow. Let's actually use it, since these enemies are, yeah, in a ranged area. Okay, and by beating those enemies, that lowers this thing. Back in the Xbox 360 Ninja Gaiden 2, this would have been an actual puzzle instead of actually having to just beat a few enemies and that's it. Well, so how did that puzzle go? Well, there were 2 pedestals here. One red pedestal and one blue pedestal. And if you actually use this wall run in order to get over here, no, look at that. There's a talisman that's red and there's a talisman that's blue on the other side. So and you just maneuver around in order to put those things there. But that's not all. That would only lower. No, that would only make this dragon open its mouth. That is when you would shoot the bow and arrow here in order to actually lower this platform. In this game, all you have to do is just jump over here and it opens on its own. So yeah, that's one of the many ways they keep simplifying these things. But yeah, now this thing is just there just to show you an artifact, I guess. Either way, here's the Black Tortoise, Genbu. And on the other side, there's the Vermilion Bird, Suzaku, which is where you would get the blue artifact here. It's also over here where you would find another crystal skull. And a Devil's Way mushroom here. I can't really use a Devil's Way mushroom. Well, I mean, I guess I can just waste it just to use it. There we go. If you were not careful, you would fall into this little trap here, but it's not necessarily a bottomless pit. It just brings you back here. So just a warning to watch your step, I guess. Anyway, yeah, no puzzle, just beat some enemies and there you go. So do you at least get something out of shooting this? Well, you get some essence, so it's something. Oh yeah, that was a chest that would have had a healing item, but instead I got essence out of that. So that essence would be the same amount of essence that you would get, that you would need in order to actually buy that from Muramasa. So yeah, if you actually have a full inventory of items all the time, you can use this as a way to save up money to upgrade your weapons, in fact. Feeling very Tenchu today, being on the rooftops like this. Okay, is there anything else I could kind of show here? That's for Friday, indeed. Okay, actually I have something. Okay, so if an enemy has okay, this happens to be an enemy that okay. Now, okay. So some enemies don't actually lose their legs properly, it turns out. Like this guy, he keeps flying, and for some reason, all the attacks that would make him lose his legs, usually if they lose their legs, they would be on the ground. This guy doesn't, because he's flying, I guess, and I guess even if you were to make him lose a leg, it won't be, yeah, he wouldn't be really on the ground anymore, he would just keep flying. So instead, any attack that normally would target the legs, they would just kind of hit a different limb instead. So that's a fun little quirk there. But what I actually wanted to show is that, let's see if I can get them to lose a limb, lose a legs. But even without legs, he can still fly? That doesn't seem right. Alright, so let's see if I can... Alright, yeah, okay, so this guy has lost a leg. Let's see if I can have the same thing happen to this guy. Come on. Ah, no. Now he actually died. Well, there's another enemy here somewhere. There we go. Come on. There we go. Okay, so obliteration techniques. Funnily enough, you kind of have a control over over how your obliteration technique looks when it comes to an enemy that has lost a leg. If you simply press Y while neutral, as in the stick on neutral, you will do the stabbing motion where you will kind of stab them into the ground, I guess, like this. If you press forward while and Y to an enemy that's on the ground that has lost a leg, he will do a kick instead. So let's see if yeah, so he kicks him in the face and then stabs him in the head. Okay, so what's the difference? Well, in gameplay, not a lot, to be fair, but there's a funny little quirk you can do in terms of combos there, because it turns out that if an enemy is not actually on the ground while they have lost their leg, and you do the kick actually launches them in the air, and people have actually done that as a fun little combo that they can do. So if you do the X combo that ends up with the uppercut, but you are still on the ground that way, yeah, most of the time the slash to the legs would, well, get rid of a leg, and then you hit them into the air, and then you can do forward and Y with the obliteration technique. But it's no longer an obliteration technique. Now it becomes a launcher instead. So yeah, so let's see if... no. Of course, if you happen to cut off a different limb, then... Alright, let's see. There. There. So yeah, just a fun little thing you can do in combos. And yeah, lots of people have done a lot of fun stuff with combo videos there. Oh, live 1,000 gods. Like I said, in this game, you don't really have an option to keep it in your inventory. You just use it immediately. Okay, so once we head upstairs there, that is going to lead to the boss battle that is going to end this stream. My recommendation is to look around a little bit, because there is a ladder here that leads not only to a Muramasa statue, if you need to upgrade anything. In fact, we do have enough to actually upgrade the Falcon's Talons, but I will actually upgrade the Falcon Talons in the next chapter, in the next entry, so I can more properly talk about the Falcon Talons at level 2. So yeah, there's a Muramasa statue here. There is also a save statue here, so you can heal before the actual boss battle. So yeah, I would recommend looking around and saving here first before you actually enter the boss battle. Question for chat: how important is story and/or storytelling in video games to you? All right, and let me just adjust that question. How do you find how this game does the story? Because there's a lot of diaries and the cutscenes and all that. And oh, I'm gonna go to bed. Have fun. All right. Thank you for joining, and you look awesome as you disappear into the night. Stuff like that. Okay. Well, we've seen the white tiger. We've seen the vermilion bird. We've seen the black tortoise. Well, here is the azure dragon, and also I guess the golden dragon. Then, so yeah. Seiryu. Golden, the Azure Dragon is Seiryu. Okay, but yeah, before we actually enter the boss battle, do know there is a Life of the Gods hidden here. Okay, also fun fact, yeah, so the boss battle is Genshin. That seems to be very obvious after all the cutscenes. This is the hole where Genshin was able to enter this place from in the first place. So yeah, fun little fact that they added this little hole here. Alright, but yeah, let's enter the boss battle. Boy, Joe has been hanging this entire time.
You must be Genshin.
And you must be Joe Hayabusa's little cub. It is said that a dragon ninja would die to protect the demon statue. You seem eager to fulfill your duty. Now, Elizabeth, you must keep your word.
Stop!
Yeah, so demon statue is going to be the MacGuffin throughout this entire story. Just Ryu trying to find this demon statue from the others.
Bloodline of the dragon ninja ends here.
Okay, so remember how in Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 1, I described Murai as if you are fighting against another player, essentially. So, with that in mind, Genshin is Murai on steroids. Like, Genshin's moves are almost relative to Ryu at level 3, I guess, with his dragon sword. So all of his moves, they seem like moves that Ryu would kind of be able to do. So this kind of makes Genshin kind of like a milestone for you to kind of reach. However, that also means, like with Rosetsu, like with Gyuki, oh, there he is. That was his ultimate technique there. But yeah, that means that all the ways that enemies are able to hit you, well, you can kind of do that the same with Genshin. So just kind of take your time to study how his combos work. However, Genshin does have a lot more moves to close his distance between you and him. With the Flying Swallow, in fact. It's almost like a recommendation to actually use the Flying Swallow that way. So yeah. You can kind of use the way Genshin uses his moves as a kind of I wouldn't say measuring stick so much as a kind of reference to how to actually play the game. So that's a cool thing for a rival battle like that. Okay. Anyway, once you have learned how his combos work, my recommendation is to lure him into doing the Flying Swallow, which he usually does when you're far away. That's usually a good time for you to actually follow up with a combo, which, funnily enough, enemies can do to you as well. If you do the Flying Swallow, enemies can punish you for it. So that means that you can do the same with his Flying Swallow. Nope. However, he is able to kind of intercept your attack. So sometimes he does kind of bounce off your attack with his sword. So do keep that in mind. Oh. Also, you can counterattack his attacks. So, yeah. What's funny, though, is that Genshin can intercept your counterattack. So yeah, he can essentially counterattack your counterattack. So, do be careful about that. So, let's see if I want to see. Come on. There. I just think it's such a one-upmanship of him being able to counter your counter. But yeah, in terms of one-upmanship, well, he's yet to do an Izuna drop against you. So what if we do an Izuna drop against him? Well, if he allows it. There we go. Yeah. Oh, you can use Ninpo as well. Well, let's return the favor. Well, he's able to dodge it. Well, to be fair, I dodged his Ninpo. But yeah, like always, study the boss first before you actually try to attack the boss. Don't just blindly start attacking, just study them. In fact, my recommendation is actually just to hold block the entire time, so that you can more safely observe rather than just walk around defensively. Just keep holding block and just dash away from them in order to kind of watch their moves, I guess. I think besides the combo XXY forward Y, which I use to essentially kill Rasetsu and Gyuki, the 3 Y attack combo is also very useful. So just to, yeah, it does a lot of damage. So also something to keep in mind there. Anyway, how do I end this thing? Yeah, I'll just do this. I do like that we saw Joe's running with the camera focusing on his feet there, just like in the NES Ninja Gaiden.
You must retrieve the statue. Go now!
So yeah, Ryu retrieving the demon statue. That's going to be the main running plot in this game. Alright, and that is Chapter 2. So, I guess I will just, I already have all these other saves here, so I'm just going to save over this one. If I have to return to a different chapter, I'll just use the other saves that I already made. Okay, so, yeah, there's Chapter 3. We'll go over what's going on here in the next entry. But, yeah, we are about to end this stream. If there are still a few questions left, I'm ready to answer them right now. We are in a relatively open area here to show things. So yeah, just say so if you have any questions, anything that may not be clear enough yet, because again, all these informations, they are very ingrained into me after decades of playing this game. It's still very much possible that I just kind of overlook what wasn't actually clear. So yeah. In the meantime, I guess I might as well actually read the details of all these items, because funnily enough, they make sure to give a lot of backstory to all these little things, even healing items. Herb of Spiritual Life. A dried medicinal herb with remarkable healing properties. The herb of spiritual life appears to be related to the Yartsa gunbu, or caterpillar fungus, but it is much rarer and boasts instant efficacy. The herb does not grow as a parasite on insects like the caterpillar fungus, but little else is known about its life cycle. Although distilled elixirs of the herb's extracts are available on the market in limited quantities, dried specimens of the full herb are much more effective. So yeah, kind of funny how it used to be like an elixir that Ryu used in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, but now Ryu just goes for the source itself, just going for the herb. So there you go. Alright, grains of spiritual life. An extremely powerful medication that heals the body. These small grains of medicine contain a potent formula consisting primarily of 2 ingredients. The rare herb of spiritual life mixed with with the even rarer powder of dragon's bones. Okay, so they use dragon bones along with this. The powdered dragon bone is a catalyst, reacting with the other ingredients to dramatically increase the potency of the medication, giving it a healing effect several times greater than the herb of spiritual life alone. This medicine is also known as spiritual Horai grains in some circles. Mount Horai is a mythical mountain whose hermits were where hermits were said to live. These hermits devoted all their time to unlocking the secret of immortality, and it is suggested that this medicine represents the outcome of their alchemy. Devil's Way mushroom. I think we already read this one. Well, still, a mushroom that contains large amounts of a substance known to replenish ki, the essence of Ninpo. It grows wild on cliffs in remote mountain areas that are extremely difficult to reach. Most specimens are gathered by followers of Shugendo when on pilgrimages to mountainous regions. The mushroom is rich in alkaloids that are poisonous to most people, but those tenacious enough to have developed a tolerance to it prize its ki regenerating properties. Strange enough, those who consume the mushroom claim it is quite delicious. So yeah, it's kind of funny how it is actually poisonous to most people, but I guess ninjas like Ryu and all that, they just decide to build a tolerance for it by eating this poisonous thing just to eventually learn to gain ki from it. So there you go. Talisman of Rebirth. A talisman set to resurrect those who carry it. The talisman's effects trigger automatically when its possessor is mortally wounded, although it reportedly disintegrates after single use. Proponents of the talisman speak of miracles, and many trust in its power. Crafted deep within the sacred caves, below a secretive Shinto shrine, the talisman prevents the bearer from descending the Yomotsu Hirasaka, the slope that divides the land of the living from the land of the dead. The bearer of the talisman is thrown back amongst the living with a good amount of health and ki restored. So yeah, that's their way of explaining how the revive thing works. Okay. But I think if there are no longer any questions, let's just move back to the chat. Come on. Ah, there we go. So yeah, I think with that, I'm just going to end the stream as I usually do. So remember, if you strive to be better than enemies, be better for your friends, and better yourself. Take care, and see ya.